Talon, who always seem to be dragging out their game that little bit longer than a lot of these other teams. T1's not going to give them that opportunity. You know, Execration, even though they were eliminated yesterday from the lower bracket, they were actually doing pretty decent against T1 in the early game, but T1 was just able to be a lot more efficient than them. And that's really where they started to falter a little bit. So I feel like this might be one of those instances where Talon, they've got the late game chops to be able to come back into this, but maybe the net worth lead early on is just going to be too far to come back from.
So do you feel like Talon need to put a lot of emphasis on a lineup that's going to be able to match the tempo that will come out from T1? Because we've seen T1 in the qualifiers so far. Again, Ana playing the Marcy, Ana playing the Undying. This is not your conventional position 1 hard carry where they're really looking to ramp up the pace. You feel like Talon, they can't fall back on the strategy that has worked for them multiple times in this kind of late game Dota?
I think what Talon need to do is they need to address what makes T1 so successful. And that's heroes that can quickly farm areas of the map and force people to move towards objectives, or that can quickly join in onto team fights to get an outnumber. So when I talk about these heroes, I mean like the Nature's Prophet, the Primal Beast, the Death Prophet, you know, even the Morphling to some extent, and all these heroes that like to build into the Boots of Travel as well. They force you to kind of react to a lot of these plays. So if I'm Talon, I know that that's coming, but I feel like I don't always want to be playing so reactionary. So maybe just something that's going to be a little bit more on the front foot could be beneficial for them this time around.
Well, you mentioned some of those heroes in particular that is going to be contested. I think the Undying was one of them. What are we looking at in regards to the bans? What do either sides need to kind of prioritize to take out of the pool in the first phase?
I think for Talon, it's just around those early game heroes, right? Even without T1 being taken into consideration, their most banned heroes are like the Chen, the Beastmaster, Visage to a lesser extent, Lycan. So these are ones that really up the tempo, that don't allow them to come online with their slightly, let's call it greedier, but maybe just more late game focused lineups. So I think just those sorts of things that are going to have a really good time in the laning stage. Undying is probably another one of those. Primal Beast is another one of those. So the downside is you can't get rid of all of them. So we'll see what they end up doing. Maybe they're going to go down a similar route with the Visage, because that is one of those higher pace heroes that KP actually does play, and do exactly what Polaris just did to Neon. Like, that is a draft that you and I have been wanting to see within the Southeast Asian qualifiers for quite some time, because we saw it have so much success in SA, and clearly it works.
What do you reckon Thompson's chuckling about? You see Thompson's having a bit of a giggle. Anna's just cruising over there. He's got the game face on.
Good question. Did you see I know you're not really much of a Reddit browser, but someone made a thread about the cams and how they had exemplified all of the different personalities on T1. Like Ana looked tired, Thompson looked completely stoic, Cuckoo had this big smile on his face, Zephyr was chill, and White Mom was just chilling as well. And I was like, you almost got it, but White Mom needed to have some kind of snack in his hands. That was the big difference there. So where's the cornetto? Where's the ice cream this time, White Mon? And he's not singing either. He's got to step it up a little bit.
Come on, there's a couple of things that you need to add to the camera. I mean, maybe in the game 1 break where we got game 2 draft, you might bring the snack out. But this is what we've been waiting for. Game 1 draft is underway. T1 on the Radiant side, Talent, they're going to be picking up the Dire side.
And it is that Undying going away. I like it. You got to get rid of the flex. It's just a question of who's actually got the first pick here. It T1. Is T1. Okay, so in my eyes, you've either got to ban out the Morphling or the Primal Beast. I think it's the Morphling that needs to go if I'm on Talon, just because they've shown the flexibility in being able to play at position 1 and position 2. And I feel like if you're going to Primal Beast this early, there are still plenty of responses to it. Anything that has spell immunity is going to be really effective against it in lane. Not sure if I'm the biggest fan of that one, but maybe they're just wanting to let multiple heroes come through so that they're able to pick them up themselves if it's not picked up by T1.
I think Mars is another hero that's going to be contested. T1, they have the option to go down that route if they want to. And there we go, picked up. I was going to say, like, if Talon were playing with the 8th pick in this game, they could consider a Morphling at the 8th because of how goddamn good 23 Savage plays on that hero. I don't think we'll get it with the Earthshaker. No, they're going to go down the puck route, but that could be a thought for later games once we get there.
Yeah, this seems like it's plan B for Talon. I know I'm assuming since it's so early into the draft, but if that Marcy got left in, I almost am certain that they would have gone for a Marcy Visage. Like, it just is such a strong laning combination. KP plays it well. It picks up the tempo. It forces Talon to respond a little bit more defensively. And, well, wouldn't you know it, they get the flex. They get to ban out the big hero against it. And, I mean, every time you see a Shaker, right? Do you think this was bait coming through from Talon, or do you think it just slipped their mind that, I mean, Thompson has shown that he really likes going into that Aghanim Scepter build, and I can't think of many better heroes other than, maybe the Slark, which we've seen in recent times, that a Morphling would like to be.
The Thompson is smirking right now. It's like, what are these fools doing? They let the Morphling through. I got my 8th pick Morphling. I can now ban some pretty hefty counters. You mentioned about the Morph Earthshaker matchup as well. So my Thompson in particular is incredibly happy.
Yeah, for sure. Feels a little bit odd, that's for certain. So now what can they look to do? Because you've kind of also revealed like what your mid laner is going to be with picking up this puck. And not that it has a bad matchup against the Morphling, but you can't really pick some of these heroes that might be able to abuse the matchup a bit more. This is Talon that are going to have the last pick of this phase as well as the final one. So mid lane isn't going to be a one matchup, let's say. But how are you going to win the other lanes? That needs to be the main priority for them. So clearly, they're just wanting to, again, slow the game down. Look at these heroes being removed. It's all what we were talking about before. Fast-paced, get rid of the DP, Chen, Enigma, Undying as well. Wouldn't be surprised if they got rid of the Primal Beast, but I suppose it's not too bad because you can still pick up that position 5 that's like an Oracle, for example. That's a great laning response to the Primal Beast if it's played as either a position 3 or a position 4.
I do think the one nice thing with Talon in regards to the mid matchup is that Thompson in the early game, he can kind of get active once Dragonlance is completed on the Morphling, but early game Puck is going to be able to make a lot of rotations, and the Morphling doesn't have this capability. So Talon could have a big advantage with Makoto just being free to make movements to both side lanes, and that could really help out with finding early kills.
The thing with those rotations, though, is that you need to pick up a support that has a bit more damage. Earthshaker doesn't. There's a big reason why I hate this hero. Like, it's really entertaining to watch if it gets to the late game. My concern is it's not going to get to the late game. So how are you going to be able to combat that? Like, what position 5 can you look to pick up that fixes that damage issue? What position 3 can you pick up that fixes that damage issue to potentially enable Makoto on his puck to rotate through to the KP and Q lane? I mean, when you think of KP heroes, Enigma is one of them, Undying is another, Death Prophet is another. It's really just Visage, Doom, Brew that are left in the pool right now. I mean, there's another fast-paced hero, right, with the Nature's Prophet being taken out. So I like Talon's bans. I'm just not necessarily a big fan of this combination between the... do they just Primal Beast now? I mean, I guess you could glimpse him back if he goes for the charge, but... it's going to have a White Mon Lion coming through. I mean, the man is an absolute Chad on this hero.
But he is a great way to be able to address the puck. I am a bit concerned that Talon can look to ramp up the pressure. Like, that was what we were asking for them in the pregame, saying that they kind of had to match T1 early. And a Disruptor and a Puck, they want to be running heroes. And Lion, he doesn't like that at all. If people are up in his face, a squishy hero that wants to get the initiation... with the Blink Dagger as well, which is going to take a little bit to come online. So I do like the Lion answer to the Puck, but I feel like as a game answer, there might be some issues because Talon are going to get very, very aggressive early.
You think so? I mean,
Yes.
my vision is that this Disruptor and Shaker aren't the best at rotating. I don't think they have the greatest amount of damage. Like, sure, if you just Dream Coil into a Static Storm, it's great for a lot of these team fights, but all T1 need to do is not clop up. I feel like they need to pick a hero that's going to be able to up the tempo a little bit more, because it's the age-old adage of, well, Disruptor's good if you're playing aggressively, but if you're trying to run away from a Marcy and a Viper that are running at you, then you're going to have a much harder time.
10 seconds remaining.
And
I think
what melee position ones can you really pick up into a Viper, especially one that's being assisted by a Marcy as well?
There's not too many because... I mean, you'd be looking at like a Juggernaut or a Lifestealer, but they do not match up well versus the Morphling, and even the Lion, again, is nice with the instant Hex. So this is not going to be an easy pick at all for 23 Savage.
Maybe they could go down the route of like a Chaos Knight or something like that, just if they really wanted to go for some kills in the laning stage, but I don't know. I feel like you would be banking on finishing early, and that doesn't really sync up with like what an Earthshaker looks to provide to your team. I know double range isn't really a great thing, but sniper might not be horrible this game just because they don't have amazing gap close. Like if you're going forward on the Morphling, then you need to pretty hard commit, and then it means that you might be able to get that static storm off on the disruptor. Instead, it's going to be a Beastmaster, so a double melee lane, but it's not horrible, right? The thing that I like about this is that it's going to give you a lot of plays with the Glimpse. I was kind of thinking, can they Night Stalker into this? Because, you know, we've seen in the Eastern European region, that's a pretty popular combo. You don't need stuns if you're just constantly running at people and able to glimpse them back. So Beastmaster's at least going to provide that vision, allow you to take the team fights that you want. I'm just a little bit worried about how the lanes are going to go still.
I think the nice thing at least now is that Talon can protect the Beastmaster. There might even be potential though for T1 to flex the Morphling into the safe lane, because one thing that when they were picking up the Morphling in previous series, it was the puck was getting banned out every single time. So obviously Topson is concerned about this matchup, and Talon are aware of this, hence why they picked it before the Morphling was shown. Is that enough to put the Morphling in the safe lane, who should have a pretty good time versus the Beastmaster? Like, you can deal with the boars. Earthshake is not a concern at all. They have that potential. You still have the potential to put the Marcy in that lane as well, but I like the Beast pick a lot. It seems like Talon are gonna have a big advantage here in team fighting.
Just trying to see like some of these unorthodox heroes that Anna's been playing lately. Obviously, we've seen the Undying. We've seen what was the other hero that we got out of him on day one?
The Marcy.
Marcy, yeah. But he's been playing Clockwork in pubs. He's been playing Bounty Hunter in pubs. He's even been playing the Mirana in pubs as well. And Mirana's not that bad into a Beastmaster. You know, you're able to deal with the boars nice and easily. Got pretty good attack range. You can rely on Topson to be the one to carry the game for you. The downside is, of course, you would be playing alongside a Lion, so that doesn't feel anywhere near as good.
See what the call is going to be, T1. They've got plenty of reserve time to work this one out. Again, they have a lot of flexibility as well.
It seems like it's going to be Anna's hero. He's surprisingly vocal for a draft. Normally he's just dead silent unless it's his hero being picked up, so you would have to assume that the play for them is putting the Morphling mid for now. What can you go for with this? It's not really a PA game, is it? I mean, it's not a bad PA game.
PA Morphling might be a bit too greedy. That's my concern.
Outside of the Beastmaster, though, as long as Beastmaster's dead, you don't push with this lineup. So I feel like you can get away with it. That's why, was it Xerxia earlier today? They were able to pull off I think it was a Faceless Void TA draft, just because you were against 4 heroes that were pretty terrible at pushing. So you can be greedy, as long as it's not going to get punished. You just need to identify what's going to punish you.
I don't know. I'm really concerned because I feel like Talon, they have this last pick that you can go for anything on Savage. It's going to be the Pudge. More than likely, Anna picking this one up.
Pretty decent, right? Like, they aren't going to have a lot of ways to be able to deal with the Flesh Heap, right? It's all pretty slow ramping up damage. Even just the Static Storm, right? If you're able to get the Flesh Heap off before that comes through, Puck, another one of those heroes that does kind of slowish damage until super later on. We've seen Makoto, though, he carries games with this Puck. He was a big reason why they were able to beat out Polaris in the previous part of the upper bracket going into the Dagon build. But now what could you go into this Pudge? As a position 1, they need damage. They need something that's going to carry them in the late game. What is it going to be?
I'm intrigued because we saw in the DPC that they went for some pretty crazy heroes for 23 Savage. One of them.
I was gonna call the Slark.
Oh, they get the Slark.
I was gonna call it.
That's my bad. My bad.
No, that's all right. I was hesitant because I was like, could they do this? Is it potential? Like, against the Viper, it feels okay. You've got the Dark Pact, right? You've got plenty of ways to be able to rack up those Essence shifts. Again, it allows you to take the team fights that you want. And they don't have a ton of AoE damage right now, so I feel like it's a pretty decent Slark game. The thing is, you've given now 2 great targets for Topson to want to morph into. The Slark, of course, just adds another layer of mobility to the Morphling with the Pounce that you're able to steal. Shaker, of course, if you get into the Aghanim Scepter, feels amazing. I don't know how I feel about this. I mean, I'm preferring T1's draft as a whole just because I feel like you've given a lot of comfort over, and I feel like the lanes are all pretty decent. But the Slark certainly does deal with the Pudge in a pretty significant way.
It's interesting you're favoring T1 because I'm pretty heavily favoring Talon. I really like their lineup. I think they have a big advantage in regards to team fighting. I'm quite concerned how T1 are going to be able to take engagements unless they have an advantage early on. I think this last pick Pudge is kind of something that we were wanting in the aspect of, because Morphling is a very greedy position too. And you were saying like you could get away with it if Talon don't push. It maybe if they could shut down the Beastmaster, that would help out. But you get a position one Pudge who doesn't need a whole lot. It can make a lot of space for Thompson. But again, my real big concern is that there's a lot of synergy on Talon. Like Slark, Wax Speed, he's going to get it out of the inner beast. You've got nighttime vision on the Slark to help with glimpses. You've got the Hawk to help with glimpses. You've got the Orb to help with glimpses. Talon are just going to run at T1. They have an incredible lineup to be able to do that. They have really good team fighting as well. Whereas I feel like T1, again, I think their only way to succeed is they need to be ahead. I don't know if that's going to be the case.
I think they're going to be ahead. I think they're going to be ahead in the laning stage. It's just a question of what you do after that. The one thing that it's going to be making me lean a little bit more towards your argument there with Talon is that while Thompson's spending this time farming on the Morphling, which we know they like to do, they make a ton of space for him. He's one of the best heroes at being able to go into the jungle and be able to pick up some of that farm. You don't have great heroes at being able to push. Like Viper can do it, but it's not like you've got a Visage. It's not like you've got a Death Prophet. It's not like you've got a Nature's Prophet that are able to provide a lot of that pushing potential. Speaking of Thompson, he's going to be scouted out by KP. Probably see the fact that these Ancients are warded up.
30 seconds to battle.
Who would even take those Ancients, though? Maybe they're just assuming that they're going to go max out the Wild Axes on KP?
I suppose so, yeah. No one else would be able to take it, so maybe just trying to slow down the Beastmaster's game, which I do think, like, Beastmaster is a huge component to Talon's lineup. If he gets that early Helm of the Overlord, that's where the push can come from, and that's where the group up can come from as well. Your potential Wraith Pact as well, if that's a route he wants to consider. It looks like we'll have nothing crazy in regards to the bound. It will be a 2-for-2. Either side's able to get their wards out on the map as well. And we are all set, ready to rock and roll here. Game 1 for the upper bracket finals. Talon against T1. And what a mid matchup we've got. Makoto against Thompson.
That's about mid, but we seeing what's happening top. We're getting a little bit of a tri-lane actioning happening up here. We've got the Lion paired together with the Viper and the Marcy up top, looking to try and get that first blood on the board if they can. That would be a great way to be able to start out this lane. You know, I've mentioned that Cuckoo really needs to have a solid start to this one if they're going to have any chances of taking towers and putting a lot more pressure on. They're on to hide for now, but where's the damage? Where's the follow-up?
Well, they should have the damage just in a poison attack. Look at the kill. Zephyr's going to trade his life with running under the tower, but he's got enough movement speed, in fact, to get out of the aim of 23 Savage. So a great start for T1. The Viper can have some issues early on. Once you get that level 3, a huge power spike in the second point of the poison attack, they're going to be able to get active beforehand.
It almost feels like this Orb of Venom was exclusively just to get that first blood, the one that Marcy's holding right now, because you really don't want to be going up and contesting against 23 Savage on his Slark, and I feel like Hyde, with his positioning, is going to be good enough that he's not going to be trading right clicks. Just harass from afar with that Thunderstrike and look to make them use a lot more of that regen. I think rather than using it onto Zephyr, yeah, just target Cuckoo, make him feel a little bit more pressured.
Top lane is definitely going to be a bit difficult for Talon to play this lane. Savage, of course, can always get rid of the poison attack, but feels like the spam fire is going to be very difficult for them to deal with. The Disruptor's not a crazy laner as well, so I think this is...
KP's in a little bit of trouble.
But they are spiked on top of KP, and they should be able to get the kill. KP recognizes this, so he's going to try and do as much damage as he can, but T1 already second kill on the board.
They're giving up a little bit to be able to start this game, but it's what you have to come to expect, right? When you're playing with an Earthshaker, I think he's a woeful laner. So this is always going to be the thing that happens. Ooh, even the tower actually getting a few of these last hits away, so it's going to make the lane actually push out a little bit more towards T1's side, which is not what you want. I mentioned before that T1, they have the much better draft for the laning stage, and if they're going to be able to push into some of these early towers, they need the lanes to go well, which they have so far.
We'll see whenever Q's in caught out of position with the Beastmaster as well, which we saw prior. Whitemon can get that Earth Spike into the hook. The very potent combination and that you need to be able to play with the Pudge is how much damage he's able to dish out early on in the lane. And Ana, he's just free farming. Like you said, all the lanes going very comfortably for T1.
Makoto's always going to do well in his mid lane, though. He's a very solid player up top. Nice pounce away by Savage just to be able to get away from the aggression. But yeah, I think Makoto has probably been the biggest standout for mine from Talon so far these qualifiers. It really has been the mids really shining, right? Even though they're eliminated, Bob on Execration was doing a fantastic job for his team. And Makoto, even when Savage has had a bit of a rough time, it never seems to be him pulling the team down.
Helps me with some of the voice lines. Remember Makoto's trying to duke after strike. Very interesting.
You can take
match.
the man out of OG, but you can't take the OG out of the man.
Not at all. This lane now.
Is under attack.
So we're going to be looking towards a power. They got 2 minutes until the spawn. That's where Puck really needs the advantage. And I do feel like Dire have this capability to be able to secure some of them. But Radiant, they don't have the worst heroes as well from being able to rotate. And we already see Zephyr try and help secure one of the water runes for Thompson. And also they'll bring Whitemon as well to take the other one away.
Yeah, it's always what you need to be focusing on whenever you're up against the Puck, right? You are much less capable than a Morphling. He's got
Bottom lane.
what, 4?
Ana is alone at the moment. Q's got the Fissure from afar. Another round of the Axes as well as KP. He's going to get a little bit of revenge. Beautifully done as they see that Whitemon left the lane so they could get aggressive onto Ana's Pudge.
Yeah, good response coming through there. What I was saying before was you've got about a 14 damage advantage on the Morphling versus the Puck, so Puck needs those bottles to be refilling his mana, just so that he's able to stay ahead on this net worth. Of course, no small camp to be able to play around with anymore either, so it makes it even more vital than it used to be. Nice hooks by Ana, just cheating, getting a little bit of extra golden experience coming through. Looks like he's wanting to go straight into that Vanguard, just allowing him to stay perhaps solo in that lane a bit more, enable Whitemon to make a few more of those rotations towards mid.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Mid lane. Lift may be used for Thompson. The waveform if he wants to try and catch up to Makoto, but the Puck has got no resources to try and play with this full wave, so this could be a little bit of damage onto the tower.
Is under attack.
This is what I was talking about, right? Like, it is so important for him to make sure that he's securing those power runes, otherwise he just can't farm. You've got Q here just trying to soak up a little bit of that experience so it's not wasted entirely, but, I mean, Makoto used to be top of the net worth, and now he's fallen to, by the time this creep wave's done, 300 behind Thompson.
Look at this already. The supports are starting to rotate from top to bottom as well. Reed's going to be there. How important power runes are.
Radiant
He's the one that gets lucky with the spawn, though.
They scan just to see if there are multiple people nearby. He can obviously see hide, but that scan would be clipping anyone else that's coming through. It's on Q. Nicely done. Good attempt. Actually, it was Makoto that was able to secure that somehow. Whitemon was guarding the bottom rune, but that Arcane rune being picked up, as soon as he's level 6, that might enable Talon to make a first attempt to go for a kill. You would have to assume it's on top, though. I mean, with that Vanguard being picked up on Ana, makes it a lot more challenging to target him. So, in my eyes, Cuckoo's the one that they're going to need to focus on.
Yeah, it doesn't look like you're going to be killing off Ana with only 1 point in the wild axis here for KP. So top something that Makoto's going to be considering. Look at T1 playing very aggressively around mid. Zephyr and Whitemon still sticking around to try and put some pressure onto Makoto.
Doesn't it feel great to see Zephyr playing a much more active style? Like, he really made a name for himself playing, you know, his Treant, his Dawnbreaker, these style of heroes that are just hanging back a little bit and then joining into a team fight, but he has taken the notes coming through from Topstead saying, I need you to be active, I need you to run at their faces constantly, because that's what's going to make space for our team with Ana, great farmer, great laner, to be able to come out on top.
Look at the moves across the map as well. T1, cliff ward around mid. They were able to scout out Hyde and Q's rotation. And instantly, once they saw this, they started to pivot their attention to top. Slark was alone. Oh, KP's going to be fine, but I was going to say maybe the Beastmaster's chased down. Actually, Ana, he's got a bit too far forward. They're going to glimpse him back under the tower. They've got the roar if required. Q should be able to get rid of the dismember instantly. The rest of Radiant are trying to TP down, but they're going to be a little bit too late to protect Ana. Close with the toss away, but Zephyr unfortunately not there fast enough. That is another big kill onto the Pudge.
A little bit too deep there on Ana. Understand you want to be trying to go for those solo kills, make the space wherever you can. The important thing is, though, Cuckoo is still left solo up on this top side of the map. Like, he has had a pretty decent lane without Marcy actually babysitting him a lot of the time. So he's already up to his level 6 at 8 minutes. He's going to be farming up this double wave that's coming into him. He's in a really good spot to actually be that tower pusher that I was wanting him to be.
Bottom ward does scout out Whitemon, so still T1. Okay, nice read from Whitemon's going to be able to get rid of that. Doesn't look going to be able to get anything out of this rotation. They are protecting Ana with the TP back in. They also see Makoto rotating down, so the vision early on from T1 has been really on point. They're gonna jump. Let's see if they got the damage to get the kill. Without the Earth Spike, they might be lacking it. And the rotations are now come out from Talon. They're gonna jump on forward, targeting down Whitemon for the moment. An easy kill to the line, but you need to respect Ana. The Pudge is going to be dealing ridiculous amounts of damage once he's on top of the Talon members. As Zephyr will jump back in, coils out from Makoto, but where's the extra rotations out of team? It's just 2 members battling against the 3, and they do not have the numbers advantage to come out on top. And Talon will overwhelm T1 in their own jungle. Mid lane, Thompson might solo kill Savage. Nicely done from
that
Thompson.
Makes it worth it.
Yeah, a bit of a silver lining across the map.
Dire's middle tower
Coming through
is
all
under
3
attack.
cores towards the top. No Essence Shift permanent stacks coming out. 4 Savage coming through here, and I mean, this is why you got to get rid of the Morphling, right? Just the amount of flex that it provides to T1 is kind of insane. I also want a bit of a prediction from you, Aries. Are we going to see any TPs in that are immediately glimpsed back this game? I feel like someone's going to forget the disruptors in this game. It's not really a meta hero these days.
Happen. So yeah, someone will forget. We're still sticking around bottom. Can they rotate Thompson? Yep, they're gonna smoke. I do not believe he was under the Observe ward. They are pinging it out. They saw the invis spawn and saw that someone took it without any vision of a hero in the area. So they know that they're smoking down. I was just singing the praises of T1's wards, but that ward from Talon potentially keeping them alive.
Well, out here.
Not keeping the Earthshaker alive, at least.
It's a valuable kill, though, right? Like, this Shaker doesn't do anything early on. You know, you're going to have a good time as the Morphling. Viper can just get disposed away from a lot of the Fissure blocks, so I think just making sure that he doesn't get into those super early items to have that true teamfight impact is going to be the biggest deal for him.
Look at that. Not the Helm Dome creep.
Ana?
Hyde doesn't have the level 6 just yet. They need some TPs coming down from Talon. Oh, Hyde just got the ultimate. The experience is enough to lay the Static Storm down. They'll glimpse Zephyr back under the T1 tower. There's another easy pickings for the side of Talon. They'll chase down the support. A perfect timing for the Static Storm to come out.
Now, I might sound a little bit premature here, but Hyde is 3-1-3. And he's got a lot of net worth. He's got into the Arcane Boots, but is this a game where he goes Aghanim Scepter, like, really early and just commits to it? I kind of feel like it is, right? Because Morphling's going to be looking to play around that Manta style as much as he can. Morphling's going to be looking to buy a BKB to be able to withstand the eventual Static Storms that come out. So, I feel like he might be able to get a lot of success out of this. Ana, TP's in. Doesn't get sent all the way back to the base. Nearly did. Just be able to walk on away. I mean, look at all the information this Hawk's providing as well. Seeing that Whitemon's there to be able to punish any kind of people that are just lagging behind a little bit. And really another important factor is the fact that Whitemon
Mid lane
is still
Thompson.
level 4.
Oh, oh no. Oh my lord. Thompson Morphling. Uh-oh. Oh no.
Just
3
ban it.
and 0. Yeah, I mean,
Just
they
ban it.
obviously felt like they had a way to be able to address it.
You can
Not
think
to
that
be.
all you want. It might not be the reality of the situation, though. Mid lane, got a couple of seconds left until the Static Storm's available, but definitely he's just looking to run into Hyde. Great Earthspite coming through.
So now, Talon, they need to be speaking about how they're going to be able to address the Morphling in regards to this game. You know, potentially... Oh, hold that thought, KP. Pause it out. They've got a really good position to take the fight. They're going to try and get the coil. They're avoiding Thompson at the moment, dealing with the supporting cask, and now they can go back to the Morphling with the perfect chain control, but it's not enough. Just TP out. Thompson, he'll make it away, but still, T1, they do lose both their supports in that skirmish.
Lose both of the supports, but both of the
Bottom
cores
lane,
are farming,
Ana.
although Ana,
Again,
yeah,
the glimpse
5
back
heroes.
hide. He's already got the glimpse maxed out. So Ana just stepping a little bit too far forward. The TP's come out. And this is going to be another death onto the punch. And he doesn't even bring Q into the grave with him.
Would have been a nice solo kill if he was able to do that. But again, like, what is this actually netting? All of these kills. At least this time around, you get the permanent agility onto Savage. That's fine. But all 3 of T1's cores are sitting at the top. You haven't taken any towers yet at 13.5 minutes. It might be going down now that this T1 tower is being hit into by the Beastmaster, but I feel like T1 still feel like they're in a pretty decent spot. TP's coming in. Disruptor's hanging nearby just for that glimpse if you're revealing a little bit too early on Cuckoo.
It's a big kill if they can get the Disruptor straight away, and they will. And Zephyr's going to be able to pounce on forward as well, catching out KP on the retreat. Great defense from T1. They will lose their tower, but they're going to make sure they can catch up some of the members on Talon before they can get away.
It's a lot of valuable gold coming through from a couple of killing sprees, actually, right? Being fed through. Hyde had died previously, but it's still a lot of gold, and yep, there we go. They're able to take away another one of those tier 1 towers. They're able to start invading the jungle. Having to spend a couple of these sentry wards just to de-ward the general area that they're farming around. But again, once you're maxing out the wild axes, I'm not sure who was really going to be taking these ancients anyway.
Smoke off from Talon. Hobson showing mid. It's probably going to have to be a fissure into a static storm, and that's going to be exactly the case. A beautiful way for Talon to be able to set up, and they should have the damage to bring him down. Great read from Talon on how they need to execute that pickoff.
I'm telling you, man, Hyde gets the mega kill streak. He's going into the 4-staff, but give me the Aghanim Scepter, bro. I feel like it's going to enable a lot more of those sorts of plays.
It's a hard call, because it is a very good 4-staff game.
Yeah, but Aghanim Scepter, position 5.
I get it. Alright, well, Thompson, first death for him of the game. Kind of mentioned the question before, but now we got a little bit more of a break. We can go back to it. What do Talon need to do to address this incredibly farm Morphling? Is there items we need to see out of them? Is there maybe a different sort of play style for them to be able to deal with Thompson?
No real natural spirit vessel builders, which is probably one of the main ways that you could have used to address it. Obviously, he's got the the Yasha finished up, so he could go into Manta style if he wanted to, but Sanj coming through next, so I don't know. It doesn't feel like they've got great ways to be able to do it. It seems like it's going to need to be around all these big ultimates coming back to back. At least Q's recovered his net worth somewhat. He's only 700 gold away from that Blink Dagger. 16 minutes in, so it's still a little bit slow, but you're going to have that surprise factor for the Morphling if you catch him with the superior vision that you should have. You know, you're playing with a Beastmaster and a Slark, not only giving yourself vision, but having a really easy hero to be able to make sure that the enemy doesn't have it of you.
It does seem like Talon having some difficulty. They see Ana under the ward. With heroes not defending top, that'll maybe be
It's a good indication that something's going on.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Yeah, I was going to say, Talon, it's kind of awkward because the Beastmaster is wanting to finish this Helm of the Overlord, but you also want the Earthshaker who's trying to finish this Blink Dagger. So it's a bit difficult for them to be able to, divvy up some of the farm across the map. And, well, one person we haven't really spoken about is Cuckoo. This guy is incredibly farmed. Only 2 kills participated with for the Viper, but second in the net worth, and he's already got the Hurricane Pike, but this could be his first death. Coda's going to start forcing reaction.
Right? So he'll be able to get away from some of these, fissures and weird sort of situations. They've enabled him to be really greedy this game, right? Most of the time, Cuckoo just goes for these, crazy run-at-you style heroes like the Death Prophet. And, I mean, it's not run-at-you, but to a lesser extent, very aggressive with the Nature's Prophet. But the Viper, much more...
They're setting up on Savage. Zephyr gonna get the stun and the burst from Thompson. Beautifully done. The ward just scouting him out so they could instantly move over there to bring it down. 23 Savage, but look at the reactions out of Talon. They want to try and hit back. They see Thompson farming up the wave. Again, it's going to need to be a fissure into the Static Storm. Dakota's going to try and give them the vision, but with the smoke popping, they've got the ward, and with the instant TPs are coming out, this is not going to be good for Talon. The Static Storm only controls one, so Thompson's got a free fight, and Talon, they need to get out. A coil will cover the retreat, the glimpse as well. It looks like Talon might escape. They're going to Delta split. Hyde and Q, a little bit slow, but they will make it back to the tower.
I mean, they're going to be able to escape, but you've just used your Static Storm, you've used your Dream Coil. So now how are you actually going to take these fights with your superior team fight? It's going to enable Ana to get up into that next item. He could go ahead and purchase the Blink Dagger if he wants to, but he's already got the point booster. So going straight into that Ags for himself, great way to deal with the Beastmaster, provide a little bit more of that AoE damage in team fights. And yeah, even Zephyr could just put himself all the way up here next to this tier 2 tower without too much fear of dying.
Do we feel like T1 are going to be strong enough to be able to contest this timing that's about to come out shortly for Talon? You got the Helm of the Overlord, and you are very close to the Blink Dagger on Q as well.
I think they can if you've got the Aghanim Scepter on Pudge, right? You should have a decent time with dealing with it. Silence on mid, but Thompson, he's fun enough.
It's top lane where they're moving. Q just walks in, fissure into Echo Slam, a couple of rotations, and that gives him enough gold for the Blink Dagger, but it is the Echo Slam on cooldown for Talon.
And the Roar as well. So again, like, it's all well and good to get these kills. You might be like, all right, we're ahead on the kill score, but what are you going to be able to do with this, these kills that you've accumulated? You're behind on net worth, you're behind on towers. You don't have cooldowns to be able to play around either. So it does feel a little bit awkward where they might miss this timing that they've got to play around. Like, what good is a Blink Dagger if you don't have the Echo Slam to play around with it for the next 2 minutes?
For Radiant, they're going to be playing with a Scepter on Ana, and a Cuckoo will be a little bit away from the BKB. I've been very impressed with the vision game from either side. This was a ward from Talon at the moment towards a triangle, scouting out Thompson's farming rotations. Radiant with the ward by the small camp down bottom was able to scout up the Slark, so just both sides with some more peculiar wards, but they're getting a lot of information.
Yeah, Savage is holding on to the one sentry for now. Sorry, mid lane, there's a lot of heroes clumping up there. I mean, even that Observer ward up top that scouted out Savage for that kill with Zephyr as well as Thompson being able to go in onto him, it's still there. So it's a little bit surprising that it wasn't dewarded. Here we go, this is the smoke. They're trying to take advantage of this timing. Primal Roar's back up for KP.
They're going to see Ana.
The fact that they've got this Hawk.
Can they blow him up though? Ana's pretty goddamn tanky and close to the T2 tower, and he's actually going to run at them. Ana lands the hook, and now Thompson's going to TP in, but the Static Storm Thompson, he doesn't get the attribute shift off, but Talon, they're not going to commit into the middle. The retreat's been called, a 1-for-1. They still actually get rid of Ana towards the back line. As high, that was enough damage to get the kill, so that will favor Talon in the end.
Yeah, I think they did deal with the Helm of the Overlord creep eventually coming through there, but just able to dodge away there on Makoto once again. But yeah, he was silenced for so long with the Static Storm, with the Puck, so he wasn't able to turn off the Rot and ended up actually dealing so much extra damage over to himself. That's why instead of the Blink Dagger, he's got that BKB coming through next for Ana on the Pudge. He really wants to be able to respond to the Leash, to the Dream Coil, to the silences that are just coming through. All you really need to worry about then at that stage is the Primal Roar.
Look at this.
Beastmaster coming through, scouting out a little bit. They see the Hawk.
They just completed the BKB as well from 23 Savage, so it's a big item now to enable him just to run into the middle. He will still be very vulnerable into the instant Hex from the Lion, but without a blink from Whitemon, that could be difficult. Ana's Dismember as well is something that he has to fear. Smoke up, Hyde. Great position to pop the smoke. They're going to wait for him to the high ground. Instead, they'll turn to Hyde, trying to bring down the Disruptor, but they might be able to block the Savage. Savage didn't pop the BKB, nor the Shadow Dance as well. And Cuckoo, he'll tip in for it. That frees up the pit now as tier 1. They're going to be able to go back and claim it. Makoto, unless he has something else to say. A coil.
Shaker, where's Shaker?
They've got the Earthshaker, but he's nowhere to be seen. They're not going to jump on forward. So even though they get the one kill and a decent ultimate, there was no follow-up.
Would have been amazing if Q was just a little bit closer there. He has the Blink Dagger available. He was playing around the great vision that
Could
they
go for a
had.
steal.
They could indeed. 3 seconds away from that Hawk. They're really trying to zone KP away. So they
Kodo,
don't have this
is the timing
vision.
perfect? Thompson gets the Aegis. Q, his blink's getting cancelled as well, so he can't jump in with the Echo Slam. He'll finally get it off, but there is no follow-up. As T1, they get the Aegis. They get the kill onto the Earthshaker as well. A great skirmish for them.
Kind of a worthless Echo Slam used as well, right? Like, we're not sure what the point of all that was. Maybe just some miscommunications coming through there, where he thought people would be looking to connect through onto the Roche pit, but Aegis was already claimed. There's no real point to do that, and now you've respawned, you've still got that Blink Dagger, but again, it's going to be a good 100 seconds until you can have any impact with it. There we go. Big
Top lane.
timing. Talk about timing.
They're onto Makoto. Wyman with the instant stun. That's the blink reveal. Oh,
Thompson's in deep, though.
No. Thompson is in incredibly deep. Savage has got a pounce. They've got the roar as well to hold him down. He doesn't get the attribute shift off. A couple of cores getting a little bit too antsy here in this upper bracket finals.
That's Thompson, right? He plays on the edge. He realized that he had the Aegis and was going for that little bit of extra farm. That's why they were able to build up this net worth lead that they've got right now, going between 4 and 5k. But, you know, sometimes you can just go a little bit too deep. Static Storm and Primal Roar had to be used for it, plus the Shadow Dance, but I don't want to say it was worth it, but you're still getting a kill onto Makoto. He does feel like the one that's keeping them in this game right now.
Do you remember, I think it was yesterday or maybe even the day before, we were speaking about the Beastmaster Ag Shard and maybe where it fits into the build? Well, it looks like this game, KP, he's gone for its second item. What do you feel like the reasoning is here for KP?
Good question, to be honest. Maybe just the reduced cooldown, really wanting to play around the extra vision that you've got, because there's still 2 tier 1 towers up. They really want to make sure that they've got as much vision as possible so that they can look to claim a few of these areas and make this aggressive draft that they've got come online, because up until this point, it hasn't really. 3 permanent Agi stacks. You've taken, again, 1 tower with a Beastmaster and a Helm of the Overlord at 25 minutes. This is not what you want if you're Talon.
Ana, you could be able to blink and get the hook onto KP. He's actually going to jump on the high ground as well. Ana's going to be cautious because Savage, no hesitation with the use of the BKB. He's going to be able to stack up the essence, but he's on the wrong side of the fissure. Savage just can't continue to right-click. As T1, they jump with Ana, making sure that no man will go in alone.
Radiant are scanning.
I want to try and deal with this mid lane a little bit. Just pushing out a little bit. Ana making sure to cut the wave as well. I think Zephyr's been the MVP this game so far. Just all of his rotations, enabling them to get kills onto the Slark, finding a way to get multi-man stuns, even just there in the team fight, being with his first item BKB, just going right on in, not worried about the Static Storm, providing a little
Savage
bit of
might be in
extra
trouble
movement.
mid. Ana's going to jump. Oh, the pounce away. Now this is a bit deep here, but they know the BKB is on cooldown for the Slark, so it will be difficult for him to fight.
Zephyr's in.
And Zephyr, he's going to look to jump in. Echo slams out. Q's going to find the ultimate before they secure the kill. But the damage, look how hesitant Talon are. Savage will be able to pounce back forward, and they've been able to isolate Ana. So another kill given over to Talon.
Bit too deep that time around, but that was the play. That at least now they're using their ultimates around these big objectives, you know? Previously around the Roche pit, 4-man coil by Makoto wasn't followed up by anything. Echo slams just being thrown out.
Jump, a quick burst. Thompson's nearby to blow him up, but it's just Thompson now, alone on an island. Let's see if they're going to be able to have the control. Thompson, he actually might look to turn around and man fight because he has the scepter, turn it to the Slark, but Thompson, he's leashed together. Again, what a crazy game we got. 19 kills even between the two teams, but it just feels like both sides are going a bit too far forward on a couple of occasions.
I can understand T1 wanting to do it now that they've hit a few of their extra timings, but they're doing it solo. You know, they're not doing it as a full unit. Maybe just because you are up against these 3 great AoE teamfight ultimates in the Echo Slam, the Static Storm, and the Dream Coil, but I feel like you've got enough BKBs to make it not as much of an issue.
Oh, great fissure timing. Cancelled the dismember, but still with the rod damage, Savage. Forced to pop a BKB. Finally get the T1 tower mid lane.
does open up a lot more plays. It's not really like T1 have been playing around the triangle all that much, but eventually it's going to feel like one of the safer places for Ana to be able to pick up this extra farm that he needs. They're still lacking that BKB. Haven't really had too much item progression at all coming out of Ana in the past 5 or so minutes. Just that Ogre Axe coming through recently.
Do you feel like the BKB will be enough here for Ana in a lot of these fights to enable how aggressive he's been looking to play the game?
Oh, for sure. I mean, maybe it wouldn't be so bad if he had the Hood of Defiance, but he's been caught out, silenced a few times, and he's just killing himself with the Wrath that's coming through.
Yeah,
Like
because
this from Talon, though, they're pushing, getting some tier 2 towers, taking advantage of KP playing one of these more aggressive heroes.
look at the net worth lead. It's in Talon's favor now. The first time this game, the highest it got to, I think, was just a little over 5,000 for T1. Talon, they've been able to weather the storm, and they've been able to find a lot of defensive items as well. Lincoln's on Savage, Makoto has this Aeon Disc as well. Hyde's very close to a Scepter. These are some big item timings coming out for Talon.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Oh, is he actually? Let's go.
Yes,
He actually went
he
for
changed
it. Nice.
Our Philosopher's Stone is a hell of a neutral item for a Disruptor.
It's going to be really effective. Like, I like how both teams are itemizing. Obviously, the position 5 going for the Scepter. Yeah, I love it, man, after my own heart. But you're going to hit these 4 BKB timings on T1 at pretty similar times. We've already got one on the Viper as well as the Marcy, but Ana on his Pudge, he's going to get one sooner rather than later, basically just the recipe component away. Thompson as well, he's at a similar level of farm. So if they could just stall things out, not lose too much more map control, then 4 BKBs, as long as you're able to dodge out getting caught pre-game BKB by the Static Storm, you should be in a really good spot.
Okay, so you feel like that's the recipe for success here for T1? Because my concern is that Talon just have a ridiculous amount of team fight. So you feel like with the BKBs from T1, as long as they can get it off before the Static Storm and get a couple kills throughout that duration, they should be able to succeed?
Well, the ridiculous team fight is on the back of the Shaker and the Puck, right? And as long as you're BKBing, those aren't actually issues.
Maybe you can even blow them up to start the fight. You have this capability with Whitemon jumping in, or even Pudge as well. Because again, we've spoken a lot about his BKB, but now he can jump in, dismember, BKB, and that's a guaranteed, 3-second control where Thompson can blow them up, or maybe even Whitemon can jump in with 2 points of Finger of Death.
They want to try and find Hyde on the Disruptor. That's what they want to do. And he's now switched out the Philosopher's Stone as well into the Psychic Headband, just making sure that he can get off the best Static
They're going to
Storm.
glimpse him to the low ground. A double fissure's going to connect. Makoto's in as well. The Force Staff not going to be able to reposition Ana out to the left side, and Savage, he'll secure the kill. He gets a bunch of Essence, and he's looking for more. But the bounce a little bit too slow as Wymon's able to retreat, but Talon, they're on the hunt. Oh, what the hex? Wymon, that was perfect for the instant use of the Aeon Disc. Makoto, he's okay. But the rest of Talon, they had to over-position. KP, he pushed himself too far forward, but he's got a BKB still in the arsenal. They're going to turn to try and deal with Zephyr, and look at Makoto holding back Thompson as well. The consistent use of the silencers making it very difficult for the Morphling to get into the middle of the fight, and now they've got the glimpse back onto KP. They know that BKB was already utilized. They need to kite Cuckoo at the moment, though. They will do just that.
He doesn't have BKB. He doesn't have people to be able to save him. Another good team fight coming up from Talon, and every single one of those just allows Savage on that Slark to be scaling that little bit more, closing in on the Aghanim Scepter for himself. He's going to have the extra Agi Stolen per Essence Shift stack as well, which obviously is going to be such a great tool of bursting down and just making this Pudge the anti-synergy for T1. Suddenly don't want to be quite so tanky. Still though, BKB's yet to be picked up on Thompson as well as Ana. Thompson, he's the one being prioritized right now because it feels like at least he can withstand a little bit more of that damage coming through.
Can they do this? Apparently they can.
But I mean, where's your vision, you know, to make you feel comfortable in going into this? Actually, never mind, Zephyr's got vision of a pretty obvious cliff as well that sees exactly what's happening right now, but just don't think they're going to be fast enough.
Yeah, looks like it's going to fall before they get there. Thompson just completed the BKB, and look at the position from Q. They're all under vision. Q, the instant hex though from Whitemon. And now Thompson, he's been able to jump into the middle. Let's see what the Morph Shaker is going to be able to do. They blow up 2 on Talon before they can get the ultimates off. And now Thompson, he goes out to the right side, but can't connect onto Makoto. A glimpse into the Static Storm. Thompson will be fine. It's just going to cover the retreat, though, as Talon. They get the Aegis. I believe they got the Shard as well.
Yes, I think so. No one was really sitting in there at the time. I believe
It's in base.
he's holding on to it at the moment.
It's dropped in
just
base.
Cool. But yeah, at least now you've got those BKBs on Thompson as well as Ana. Ana didn't have to pop his in that team fight, but losing an Aegis, obviously not ideal, right? You want Thompson to be enabled to go in super deep. He's level 20, he's got the waveform attacks targets. Going into the Lincoln Sphere next, but certainly after that, going to want to see a Satanic come through from him. But it feels like he feels enabled now. You know, he can look to go in. Again, there's many suitable targets for him to morph into. Yeah, the Shaker, obviously for the Morph Shaker aspect, but even the underappreciated aspect is the status resistance. You know, 40% that you're able to get from going into a strength hero.
It's a very good point, because holy he's got Sanjin Yasha and also the Titan Sliver. So he's already got a crap load of status resistance. Now you add on top of that, if he replicates into the Earthshaker, this man is not going to be easy to kill. And you see Thompson's even going for the Lincolns as well. So another defensive item.
Cuckoo playing with Cuckoo mid lane. Here. Might need to pop the BKB.
Nice 4-star. I don't think it's going to matter though. Cuckoo gets up with the BKB, and now Ana is going to try and jump into the middle. They're doing a really good job to kite the Pudge at the moment. Gets a Dismember out onto the Beastmaster. Then Thompson now is entered the fight, but the instant use of the Static Storm, they're going to try and turn it into with the Morphling. It gets the attribute shift off, and I don't think they're going to have the damage to kill off the Morph. Thompson survives, but the rest of Talon, they need to get out now. They committed a lot of ultimates as Makoto is in trouble.
Whitemon.
Hex down, blown up thanks to Whitemon. Beautifully done on the line. You brought it up in the draft. Whitemon has got a formidable line, level 30, Grandmaster, and we're seeing how much work he can do in this game.
What I'm liking from Thompson is that he's adapting to this. You know, Talon have been really good at reacting to a lot of these super deep dives that he's going for, so he's not going the ultra greedy route in going in the Agi form, trying to burst someone down. Mid lane, is everyone okay? Seems like it, having to pop the BKB though on Zephyr. But when he's waveforming in, he's making sure that he's doing it as he starts morphing into strength, just to make sure that if there is that instant silence, that instant roar coming through, that he's actually got the survivability to be able to withstand it. It's just little plays like that that set him apart.
Oh, that's a very aggressive blink. Ana's got the rest of the team starting to connect. This is giving Savage a lot of time to be able to steal the essence. And they kept the easy kill onto Ana, but can they deal with the Slark now? Static Storm's not going to be able to protect him for the moment of T1 do an incredible job to be able to Delta split. Down to the south though, Thompson, that's where the eyes need to be if they can control the Morphling, but they won't be able to in this team fight. As Thompson playing with the Slark, Aghanim's looking and pouncing into the river. Will catch up to the Disruptor, and he might be able to catch up to 23 Savage now, but back throughout the middle, Makoto in the jungle, assassinates Whitemon. Q was needed as well for the kill with the fissure. Blink up in a couple of seconds. He gets out to the left side. Where's Savage though? He's looking to reinitiate as Savage bounces out for the north. BKB's going to protect Thompson, but they want to get out. Thompson's out. They make the executive call to look to retreat. Do they have any stuns for Cuckoo? They do not. T1, they will survive until their cause, but they also lose out in the war.
Dead even, kill score, net worth. This is the entertaining game that we were wanting to see out of these upper bracket finals, and it just goes to show, Whitemon, he's still playing very well. He went super deep there in onto Savage just to try and get him with the tail end there. Blinks in, goes for the Mana Drain, about to hit the Earth Spike, but Savage just turns around with the BKB. Oftentimes you would think that's very wasted, but you get a kill on Whitemon on the retreat, plus also the kill onto, I believe it was Cuckoo, as he tried to run away at the very end there.
Radiant's top tower has
More
fallen.
towers dropping down as well. And very clear that Savage needs that basher coming through. There's been a few times too many that they've just been able to waveform TP away or rebound TP away under the cover of the BKB. anymore.
Guys, you still have an Aghanim shard in the base. Someone eat it. What's going on?
Wants to get it.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
I think you give it to Disrupt. Look, I don't particularly
It's
know.
not
It looks
as
like
good as it used
Makoto's.
to be.
Definitely not, but I feel with Slark it might have a little bit of value.
You got the enchanted quiver on the puck. It'll be nice on him. Could look to go into the Revenant's brooch as well.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
No, I'm a big fan.
Big fan of the brooch. The brooch. Smoke up from Talon. Wandering down towards T1's bottom jungle. No one is home though. Great read from T1. They're going to look to be able to get out. They push down bottom. Going to force Talon to show very shortly. More than likely someone's going to look to take the outpost as well. So then what can we expect out of Cuckoo in these fights? Because he's been pretty silent this game. Like 1-0-9, still flawless out of the Viper. But what is his role in the team fights?
Honestly, survive feels like the big thing that he needs to be looking to prioritize right now. Like, he didn't go for the Viper Strike DPS. He's gone for the poison attack slow. Now he's finished up the AC as well. So it's really just more about making sure Ana doesn't get blown up to provide a little bit more sustain and even the damage component through to Thompson. So I'm expecting to see him perhaps play a little bit more defensively, like Hurricane Pike, BKB, AC, items that allow you to really be that extra level of tank.
Savage, you going to walk up this high ground? He's even going to pounce on forward. Savage, feeling ready to take the team fight. Even though T1, they just got multiple items completed. They are ready to rock and roll. Only a 4,000 deficit. Nothing at all at this stage of the game.
T1 really want to make sure that they can retain any kind of vision control that they have on the map, and that is the one space outside of their base that feel like they've got the freedom to be able to play like that. Was that a fresh Lincoln Sphere picked up by Thompson as well? Yep. So again, he's pretty tanky in his own right, and well, they've actually given up this hill a little bit here. Able to scout out Cuckoo's positioning with the phase shift Aghanim shard on the puck. Again, they just look to rally around that vision. KP might be a little bit too far forward here. They see the boars, and well, he's going to blink away to safety.
Yeah, they smoked onto the Hawk, I'm 99% certain. So tell them they're going to back up to their own high ground. They do not have Makoto here at the moment. Waimon, he's just going to blind blink up with the instant bash, and Savage is not going to mess around. He'll pop to BKB for the double full at Makoto. He'll find the coil onto 3. Where's the extra stun lock? It's going to come through for the Raw. They're targeting down Zephyr at the moment. He can pounce away, but Talon, they don't want to stick around. Look at the retreat. They see the buyback instantly out of Whitemon, but the Lion, he's in. They'll get the Hex. Makoto's going to be fine with the Aeon Disc. KP will try and TPR, but Arna's there with the dismember. They'll stop that in its tracks as KP will be killed off. 70 seconds without the Beastmaster.
At these level of games, you've got to go for that ballsy play on Whitemon, right? Like, he goes in super deep, tries to get the instant hex when they know that the smoke's being popped, but they just had the vision advantage. He blinked just behind a tree, I believe, making it a little bit more difficult for himself. And, well, with the Roche respawn, it's going to be about half of the maximum duration, 1.5 minutes when it came up. So really right now, the main objective for T1 is just getting control around this Roshan area. Downside is they actually haven't been able to take one of these two tier 2 towers. That was one of the other weak points that we were really seeing for T1's draft, is that now it's not quite so much because Thompson, he's farmed enough that he's going to be able to just help push this mid lane in very comfortably. But they didn't have any of this outpost control available to them. Now they do, and now they can look to just stick around here, look to try and pick someone off, although Thompson's actually going all the way back to base. If they scout this out, they might just say, well, immediately, let's take back our jungle. We know Roshan's about to come back up, and if Thompson's not here, then we have a pretty free fight.
Do we know where the tomes went for Talon? Because both Savage and Makoto have some very, very important level 25s.
Especially Makoto. Like, Makoto needs that 25. If you're able to get the Dream Coil piercing the spell immunity, then suddenly those 4 BKBs don't become quite as much of an issue. They're so low duration now as well that with the call duration being 6 seconds, you're almost guaranteed to be able to get the Static Storm off afterwards.
I would like to see Savage get this top wave. Maybe he won't because they're smoked. Right, this should give him 25. This 25 is incredibly important against this Pudge and the Morphling as well. We're going to see Slark look to go in, steal a little bit of essence, and look to duck out. Pops it.
Makoto
I'm just going to try and follow up. Nice retreat from Talon. They're going to look to back up to the northwest side. They don't have too much vision to play with. Radiant, they've got a great ward by the outpost, but Talon, they've recognized this.
Who can't just walk up super freely like this. He's in a position to get picked off very
Another
quickly. And
smoke.
we prioritize his survival.
Ana's taking the outpost. So Savage has got the jump
Force
in.
forward.
Great force stuff. And they get the hook. Q's in
Better
trouble
hook.
now. I don't know what they're going to be able to do to be able to protect the Earthshaker. They'll try and chuck up the Depth Shroud, but Q's gone. He doesn't have a buyback. This is a vital team fight. Without the Earthshaker, they might be in trouble as Savage. Early use of the Shadow Dance. He's going to look to retreat. He gets the pounce, but they're going to block out the escape, and now they should be able to secure the kill. As Savage goes down, they're trying to catch up to Makoto. Tops him with the leap, just shy of getting the connection. As Makoto should escape, but they're ready to force some buybacks now on T1.
Yeah, and they don't know that they've only got one available on the Slark as well, so be very happy to see that it's not coming out from these supports. Feeling very confident going forward, and look back actually. There's a little bit of memes coming through there saying, I don't think we need to be diving that deep, but the plus side for T1 is that Roshan is respawning as well. Just have a look at this. I mean, the hook like that just sets up the team fight so effectively. We're able to just pop the BKB. Again, Puck wasn't quite yet level 25 before that, so maybe you put the Dream Coil out there onto the Pudge and enable your Shaker to be able to get back, and then they just took out those supports one by one. Makes the team fight so much easier for T1 after that stage.
Looks like Talon they're in a position where they just have to give up this Roshan. Wait for them to contest it. Slark down, Disruptor down as well. So this is his third Rosh given over to T1. Ages onto Thompson.
Refresher? Hello?
No one wants
Anyone?
Yeah, they want to make it a fair game.
I don't know. It
Someone's
seems like
gone.
a pretty fair game so far. They're pretty even.
I thought Thompson was going for it. Like, nah,
So
just
did
want
I.
to
I mean, if there's anything that... Having all of these active items as well as morphing into a Slark and having to press all of these buttons plus having a refresher is like a nightmare for me. Like, I have boomer hands
boomer,
and boomer
yeah.
brain lately. Yeah. Like, I'm good at the macro play. I'm good at the overall strategy, but if you ask me to press like more than 3 buttons every 5 seconds, nah, it's not going to happen.
Do have some important 25s. Thompson with his, the waveform charges, and Puck has completed his as well.
Dire's top tower
They might
is
just
under
look to
attack.
try and trade here. Talon are shoving out
Radiant's
bottom.
tower is under
And
attack.
instead-
Got the glyph though on
Dire's top tower has
T1,
fallen.
so they have the ability to be able to push perhaps a little bit quicker. Offlink going to be the one coming back though. White one scout out the Roche pit.
You have to leave this top jungle very fast now. If Talon look to reclaim this, no stragglers are there at the moment, so they will be okay. Saw Thompson get picked off previously. That was first roast. That was ages ago. Not going to happen this time. You see kind of the positioning. They see...
You need the Beastmaster there. You need the Slark there as well to be able to do that. Thompson actually gets his courier killed with the TP scrolls on it, so he doesn't actually have a way to be able to get back if there is any other pushing
nice
happening
hand.
around the map. But
Makoto, he might be able to solo kill the Lion with the ward on the high ground. He sees an easy kill off. He'll kill off Whitemont and he'll get out as well. Oh, Makoto. Oh, this is why you give the man the puck. Give him another courier.
Oh my god.
Oh, Makoto.
He's legit just carrying them, man.
They're
He's
coming.
doing such a great job.
Savage, he'll get the pounce connection. The bash is out with the chain control from Q. They're going to be relying on the hook, but it clips onto Savage instead of the Viper. And there's no way they can protect Mr. Cuckoo. As Talon, what a beautiful play for them. Down the third Roche advantage. They're just pulling them everywhere across the map, forcing T1 to make mistakes when you wouldn't expect it.
And you're happy enough to commit that deep because you had the vision on this cliff to the south side of the Radiant Outpost, and they knew Thompson didn't have a TP. So they were like, let's commit onto this. We're not going to lose anything.
Savage just wants to steal some essence. Nice hook. Get them out. I still can't believe the refresher shots inside the pit. Oh, good.
Could be what turns the game. You never know. These two teams are damn close. Both would be worthy group stage representatives, and well, even for the one that doesn't get through, that's going to mean that those last chance qualifiers are super spicy too. Also, Makoto, he's up to level 26, so he's got the Dream Call piercing the magic community. also got the overwhelming blink, so a great way to be able to cancel out some of these blink daggers that you've got on T1 too. Even the quickest fingers aren't going to be able to respond to that.
Q, go in the pit. For some reason, for no reason, just go, just walk in.
Just have a look.
I like that pick up of the Aeon Disc and the Shadow Blade as well. A lot just to help with his positioning, because he is incredibly important to Talon's team fight. A lot of their chain control. Have very, very good vision. This is something
Imagine
that Talon...
having 2 Static Storms. Imagine having 2 Aeon Discs. You know, if you're just able to get a free refresher shard.
There's a pretty big item. Zephyr just completed an Abyssal Blade.
They gotta just try and find a way to pop the Aeon Disc on Park first. Where is that damage that's gonna actually poke? It feels like it needs to be a lucky hook coming through from Ana.
Smoke hasn't popped just yet. They've gotten a lot of map control up onto the high ground. Instantly going to try and bring them down, but they've been able to isolate them. Morphling's not here at the moment.
Ana's on the cliff.
They'll get rid of Zephyr. Meanwhile, Savage going to try and turn to deal with Cuckoo. Again, the Slark is having a free fight. He gets the bash. Cuckoo tried to TP out, but he won't be able to do so. As they're going to be cautious about the Slark now. He's stolen way too much essence for T1 to be able to address him. And Savage recognizes this. He's going to pounce into the middle, deals with Ana, but tops him. He's a completely different beast. Still with the Aegis for another 30 seconds, and it looks like Talon will respect this.
I was thinking maybe they might have gone for the glimpse play inside of the base, just if Thompson put himself out that little bit too far. Makoto, I think he was going for it, diving in super deep, but another one team fight this time around. That Static Storm, the Aghanim Scepter, means that no cheese is able to be popped, no BKB as well on Ana. They're going to force a glyph out here. It'll do an okay job of maybe pushing out these waves, but not good enough. With used aggressively as well by Talon. They want to make this push happen. They want to invade some high ground.
Hobson's going to be a bit cautious. Oh, they'll force out the buyback. Instantly Cuckoo with the finger on the trigger. He sees it jump in. He's not messing around. There's no chance for Talon to look to bring down his carry in this game.
Thompson, running a little bit deep on your own, my man. I know you're a good player, but... Oh, Thompson.
We'll get the BKB. He's not going to be able to pounce
how
out.
lucky with the bashes.
They've got the coil leash as well. Thompson, he'll break it and he'll be all right.
Top lane's pushing in, bot lane's pushing in. Someone's got to do something with all of that vision from the illusory orb. Or maybe they could have gotten the glimpse, but still on cooldown for a couple of seconds. And now KP's in as well. He wants the refresher for himself, just to be able to get that double roar off. Even more Hawks, more dive bombs coming through to be able to pop that Lincolns.
Double roar control is just going to be so much lockdown for the Slark.
But what if it was triple? What if it was triple if they had a refresher?
I keep looking. I think every minute I go back and look if that shard is still in the pit.
Or even able to get into the Abyssal Blade as well for Savage. It's more of that vital lockdown. White one, again, going for the clutch plays. You gotta go for that sort of stuff, right? Even if it's just popping the Aeon Disc, it means that the next fight is actually winnable, but don't have that consistent lockdown to be able to kill Makoto if he's got that to be able to play around.
I think for T1 in a lot of these fights, the supports you gotta kill them. The shot through and Earthshaker are giving them way too much lockdown. It's gonna be a little bit different now, of course, with the refresher on the Beastmaster, but this is just props to Q and along with Hyde as well with their itemization. Like Hyde, he went 8th Lens Blink to help with his positioning. Q, again, Blink Shadow Blade. Force Staff as well. Aeon Disc, another defensive item. Like, they are just recognizing these heroes have to play so far in the backline to make sure that T1 don't get this numbers advantage, because that's in the name of the game for them. You know, Thompson to get the Earthshaker replicate more than likely, blow up the support, and then go from there as Ana's playing with fire.
Just gets the blink away. I mean, to me, it's Hyde specifically. Like, Q obviously is influential with the Shaker. He's level 20 now, so he's got even greater fissure range. But
they say Thompson
Hyde is the
reward.
one.
Thompson counters out the bash as well. He doesn't get the attribute shift, but the hook from Ana, it'll break the coil. First roar, they're set up for the second roar as well. Do they have the damage to be able to kill off the Morphling? Echo Slam dropped on the dome. They'll get the kill, but they committed a lot for the first life. An instant buyback and Talon, they're happy with that. They'll get out, and there is a gigantic win condition now for the side of Dire.
Half duration on the Roche respawn as well. No one chose to check it. It just had the possibility of respawning. Who will actually be the first one to do so? I mean, just having another usage of all those roars would be absolutely phenomenal for KP if he's able to get that one. It does cause them to commit a lot, and that DD in the bottom rune. You would have to imagine that that's going to lead to whoever sees it first to want to check that Roche pit. He's going into Radiance on Ana, just trying to provide a little bit of that dodge coming through as well.
Oh, Ana!
Hey! And they've just scouted it with the Hawk as well. There we go. Gives it to Topson. My worst nightmare is fulfilled with all these buttons that I would have to press if I was playing as Morphling, but Topson's a different beast. He would have no trouble at all.
Alan, what's the call? Ana very far forward. They're going to look to jump in and try and deal with the Pudge for the moment. Savage bashes out. They've been able to isolate him. Static Storm's going to get dropped as well. They want to take Ana out of the team fight, but they're going to be cautious about Topson. He brought back prior. Operation keep the Morphling alive, but the coil, it won't allow him to get into the middle. Talent, the disciplined gameplay. As soon as they see the buyback, they're going to look to retreat. But in fact, Makoto, he's into the middle. And Aeon Disc will buy him some time. He's able to get out to the left. Meanwhile, inside the river, Ana
on his own.
He just brought back. Ana, not like this. Cheese, it will not matter. He's got another round of the BKB. Topson's here as well, but the Echo Q into the river, but they might still be able to get Savage. Slark's gone. T1, can they do it? At 3 against 5, Topson against the world. Makoto should be able to kill off the line, but can they catch up to the Morphling? He's going to look to TP out of the triangle. They don't have any vision of the Morph at the moment, so Topson will escape, but Talon, into the Roche they go.
It's the safe play for sure, especially with Savage buying back. He's up to level 28. To scale even further, but Makoto, man, he is doing so much this game. He went into the Revenant's Brooch as well, so there's no even defensive items that they could look to go down in terms of the Ghost Scepter, just to try and prevent Slark from getting in onto them. No Nullifier picked up just yet. It's just doing so much damage against the Morphling. If he's in the full Agi form, if he hasn't popped the BKB, it's just really significant what Makoto's able to output here.
Let's go.
Take
Scepter
the negative
now.
Scepter on him. Now look at the net worth on Makoto,
and the
man.
Moonshot he's got.
Yep.
Holy.
Eat it. Eat it.
I gave it to Slark, I think.
Oh,
to Slark.
Slark needed more vision at nighttime.
Alright, now on it for 50 seconds. See what Savage wants to do. An early use of the Shadow Dance. The longest cooldown. Kodo's just going to be up to space making. Does he have Aeon Disc back up? 15 seconds. They're probably going to need to somehow pop the Aeon Disc and then look to play the team fight afterwards. Or you can just wait for the barracks and have Ana spawning up shortly. Should only be... I don't even think they'll get the full set.
You'll be happy enough with the melee, I think. We're at the stage of the game where...
Cuckoo's in some trouble. Nice waning rift into the fissure. Savage gonna jump under the tier 4 towers. They're gonna try and turn to deal with KP instead. But the Aeon Disc protecting up the Beastmaster for the moment. They're gonna toss him back inside the base. KP protected with a cheese, but he's falling lower and lower. They can't even kill off the Beastmaster though until Ana jumps into the middle. They've got the damage finally to secure the kill, but Savage is out to the right side. A 1-for-1, but can they go back in on Talon? You've got the Age's advantage still, but Topson is isolated inside the lane. Static Storm's gonna get laid down. Ana's gonna jump into the middle as well. They don't have the damage to deal with Topson, but the Essence Shift, it's starting to sack up, and Savage is just doing too much damage. Topson gets the waveform out to the left side, but Savage, he'll pursue him down. A pounce is there, but he's gotta be cautious though. He's gotta be cautious here on Savage. He's got the Aeon Disc. They might be able to kill off the first life, but can they kill him a second time? And it doesn't look like that's the case. As Makoto, he's had a completely free fight. This puck has done so much for Talent in Game 1, and that is a big reason of why they will be victorious. Game 1 going the way of Talent.
Makoto beyond godlike. The old greedy mid that, Gabby was liking to say, but he was anything but this game. He was making so much space. Every single team fight, it felt like he was zoning away at least 3 of the T1 members. Big smiles coming through from the Talon camp. And, well, T1, they tried for a little bit unorthodox style, the lanes went really well. They had a good lead, 5-6K net worth early on. They just didn't have the ability to be able to push that advantage. And a few clutch team fights, the decision to go into the Aghanim Scepter on Disruptor in particular, just doing a huge amount of work coming through. So big props to Hyde, big props to Makoto. They were the ones, in my eyes, that were able to carry this game for Talon.
And the KDA didn't look too crazy here for KP, 5-8 and 24, but I think that 1400 gold Aghanim Shard was a vital pickup to the success on Talon. The amount of vision they had across the map, not only with the Hawks, but of course the Slark being able to kill off all the wards across the map as well, made it so difficult for T1 to get a fight on their terms.
A little bit disappointed. 4 minutes short of the tier 5 items. You know, maybe that could have turned things around, but no, Talon, they well-deserved victory coming through there. As soon as they hit the initial timings that they needed, just requiring KP to have that Helm of the Overlord, that's when it started to go back in their favor, when they started to be able to take some of that map control. Because remember, it was like 25 minutes until they took a second tier 1 tower, but ever since that point, it was just Talon. It felt like completely in the driver's seat on the back of some great individual play. Makoto, Hyde, they're the ones that you need to be giving your kudos to. And, well, for a lot of people, this would be surprising. Game 1 going the way of Talon, but we know, you and I, we cast a lot of SEA, Dota, and Talon. They are nothing to be messed with.
Yeah, no joke at all of a team is Talon taking game 1 over T1. This is a game as well where T1, they go back for a lot of comfort. You get the tops of Morphling. It was almost enough for them to be able to take this victory here, but Talon, they had the chops to be able to come out on top, and this is what we were all looking forward to. The upper bracket finals between two titans of teams, but game 1 going the way of Talon. We're going to send to a break, and when we come back, we'll see what is in store for us for game 2. What a incredible game 1 to start off our upper bracket finals. I mean, Daniel, we couldn't ask for anything more. A 56-minute thriller going back and forth, but in the end, it's going to be Talon that come out on top, and they got a game advantage now in the best of 3.
Yeah, it was very entertaining for sure. You know, it really did feel like, you know, obviously we've praised some of the item choices coming through from Talon. Let's talk about T1 a little bit, because Viper didn't really feel like it did that much that game. You know, I didn't see too many Viper strikes come out. Obviously, that's not something that the Slark's able to deal with the Dark Pact. Maybe that would have prevented a bit more of that just crazy jumping around. You were saying that was way too much to have to focus on in a single team fight, right? You had Marcy jumping around, you had Morphling wave forming around and morphing into a Slarker jumping around, you had a Puck, you had a Slark, you had everything going on in all of that. And, well, when you're playing as a Viper, you were very stagnant. You know, they had nothing really to hold a team fight in this small area to truly enable Cuckoo to have presence in this game. So just very minor things just feel like so much more significant when the teams are this close, huh?
Yeah, without a doubt. And I feel like that is the big nerf to the Viper, though, in the Scepter. Like, that would have been a game where I'm almost certain Cuckoo would have decided to go Scepter because his impact would have been just chucking out Viper strikes. You could have been able to kite the Slark. That was really the most important one. I suppose Beastmaster as well, but really just the constant use of the Viper strike on a hero that if your pounce is on cooldown, then it's a bit more difficult for you to be running in the middle of these team fights. And that's really, I feel like, the big difference to late game Viper. I don't hate the pick at all. I mean, we see a lot of success on it, and we saw, I mean, T1, they were in the driver's seat. They had a 4,000 net worth lead, but a couple of mistakes from them. You know, that one in particular with Thompson having the ages and dying twice by the die triangle. They had a very big lead there where they could be able to capitalize. And this was a lineup that I was very worried about how they would be able to play late game. I thought they would have even struggled early on. You were well and truly right with the lanes. They looked incredible then. That was the big thing about the Viper. But late game, he falls off a cliff, and we saw that come into fruition.
Yeah, I think Viper got a lot out of the lane, as we were kind of expecting him to. But even though he took the tower, I feel like it was a little bit too late, you know? Like, I feel like if you're not going to have this Viper turn up to team fights, you got to make it count. You got to make some kind of extra push happen. I know you said you were wanting the Aghanim Scepter with the increased cast range, but what about the new Scepter? What about the nosedive? Maybe that was the big thing that they were missing. Oh, it's such a trash ability. I mean, maybe even just the refresher shard. big forgotten in the pit, you know? Maybe that would have led to a more successful team fight earlier on and means that the Slark can't scale. You would have been able to win maybe one or two more team fights before Puck hits level 25, and that could be the difference maker.
I was going to bring up the point about the nosedive throughout the game, and the only reason why I didn't was because I wasn't sure if you could purge off the disarm on nosedive. I know Halberd you cannot. I didn't know if it was the same because I was going to say like then if you nosedive the Slark and he can't right click, he's got big issues in the team fight. But we didn't see it anyway. It didn't matter. So that is my kind of concern with the Viper. Your scaling potential, they need to kind of be very far ahead. And honestly, I don't think T1 should be too upset because, again, they were in the lead. If they didn't make a couple of those slight mistakes, if they didn't allow Talon to be able to come to get back in this game, we could be praising T1 and saying what Talon need to do different.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, just on the one point with that nosedive, I feel like even if he does go in and gets the disarm off, it's a Slark with Aghanim Scepter, right? He's just going to pounce out, wait a few seconds for the cooldown to come back. You've got Makoto zip-zapping around on his puck, creating a ton of space, and you could just re-engage, right? So I feel like that probably wouldn't have even changed things. I really like how they were able to prioritize making sure Whitemon in particular fell down, because as soon as that Lion's dead, it really felt like there was nothing stopping Makoto from just doing whatever the hell he wanted. And maybe that's just an aspect that T1 needed. They need to try and get on hide, but that's the benefit of playing this Slark Beastmaster. You were talking about the impact of having the extra attack speed through the inner Beast Aura, get more of the stacks of the Essence shift up, but just having a Hawk for vision, having a Slark to make sure that they don't have vision whenever you're just moving around the map is so influential. When you get to this level of Dota, information is everything. It lets you make much smarter decisions, and I mean, we just saw what the result was.
We didn't see a gem picked up from T1, did we at all? Because it feels like it's a little bit surprising if you're going against a Beastmaster and a Slark. I like to mention if a gem's picked up, and I didn't that game, so maybe something that could have been changed a little bit. But looking at Game 2's draft, what do we feel like Talon do in particular? Because they dodged the bullet in Game 1 with Thompson's Morphling. I wasn't sure if they were going to ban it out or if they were going to go into Game 1's draft with the strategy to be able to deal with it. They did towards the later stages. They did a very good job of being able to avoid Thompson a lot at the late game fights. I sung the praises of the supports and their itemization. But do you ban out the Morphling now in Game 2? Do you let Thompson get the Morphling?
I personally would ban it. I don't think Morphling was the issue for T1 that game. I think they could very comfortably just go back into it. There were numerous other factors in my eyes that could have potentially changed the outcome of that game. So Thompson Morphling, outside of that one death inside of the Dire Ancients area, pretty much flawless, wouldn't you say? Like, he was getting solo kills on Slark early on. He was bodying the mid lane. He took the mid tower solo super early. It was with a couple of bits of assistance with securing the power runes, but beyond that, Thompson was putting the team on his back alongside with Zephyr.
Yeah, Thompson played a incredible game. And something that I mentioned in Game 1's draft was that maybe if Talon, if they had first pick, there could be a potential for them to go for the Morphling at the 8th pick, the last pick of the first phase, where they could then protect it. But this game, they have second pick. So I do not think they're going to be able to pick the Morphling when T1 can respond to that. So more than likely, there's going to be no shenanigans where they take it out of the hands of T1. The only way to do that is banning it. So we see Talon picking up second pick, and T1, they're on Dire as well. Do you feel like there's... can we read into anything with the priority here?
Not necessarily, other than the fact that Thompson just likes to jungle. You know, he likes to make a lot of space and take a lot of that, let's call it harder farm, not necessarily less safe, but you're not farming as quickly if you're in the jungle relative to the lanes. So despite the fact that you are going this, like, not too much action on the map style, you are creating a bunch of lanes that your supports are able to pick up. Your both cores are able to pick up some of the safer farm that's on the map, just because you've just got this extra area that you've got available to yourselves as well. And we all know that Dire is much more useful in that regard. So we'll see what avenue they look to go down. We've just got a slight little pause here before we do get into the draft. Is this how you were expecting the series to go? Did you think that T1 would be looking a little bit stronger? Because I would have to say they looked a bit more convincing in both their first and second series of the entire tournament.
Yeah, I will say I didn't get to catch a lot of Talon's games because we were casting other ones, and I didn't. I watched a couple of minutes of multiple of them, but I didn't get to see how strong kind of Talon were looking. But you told me there was some rocky stages, so I was unsure how they would shape up versus T1 because they looked incredibly dominant. I thought this series would go 3 games regardless. I just was not quite sure who would be able to come on top in game 1 and just in general with the series. I think this is so close because you've got Talon who are playing with, they've been together for a very, very long time. They've got a lot of LAN experience recently as well. Over at ESL, they didn't have the greatest showing, but of course they weren't playing with the full roster. Then you take a look at the major as well. They looked a little bit shaky there too. So that's something that Talon have in their arsenal, I suppose, a lot of LAN experience recently, which can help out because they do have some more younger players, I suppose.
Yeah, they're building for sure. I mean, they've also got older players. KP, the oldest offlaner in the entire DPC, I think. Actually, now that Ice unfortunately isn't part of these qualifiers anymore, as part of SMG. But yeah, like 29 is the oldest offlaner. Ugh. You hate to hear that as someone that's got a 3 at the start of their age.
It's okay. You're not looking too bad for a 30-year-old.
Oh, well, that's good. Not too bad. I'll take that.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Too bad is not. It's a decent compliment. I mean, I'm ready for mine whenever you want to give it to me. So I'm a handsome Giga Chad who's built like an absolute animal. That's okay.
Look, I know that you'd go to gym 50 times a week, but you could take your phone and you could load up the Dota so you're watching Talon's games while you're, pumping iron. That's all I got to say.
Kind of called me out. I don't know how to respond
where's
to
the
that.
excuse there?
I mean, the excuse is I need the music. I don't know.
Sacrifices need to be made. I agree. But if it's not me talking, you just don't want to hear it. I understand that as well. But I do believe we are getting into the next game. Looks like Thompson's still in pretty good spirits, though. Smiles on the face. I mean, speaking of Giga Chad, look at that bicep coming through there. He knows what he's doing. He knows that he's on camera right now. No one just does this naturally. I mean, come on. We see whenever we're watching Western Europe with Goon Squad, Limp is just doing the same sort of thing in his tank top. And Thompson, he's like, you know what? Let's give the viewers a bit of a show.
Flex, Thompson. Come on. Stop messing around.
There was a little bit of a flex there coming through. We're starting it. Can he hear us? He's kind of nodding at us a little bit.
No. Oh, look at that. All right, let's speak about the draft. We've got some interesting stuff here already. Yes, some respect, and I think it's well deserved. Makoto has really been a standout player often for Talon. I mean, through a lot of their DPC games, of course, this was a team that had a very rocky season. Tour 1, they had a different iteration of the team. They weren't able to play to expectations. Tour 2, though, we saw those expectations. They looked incredibly strong, bring this new roster in off the back of Makoto. I mean, a lot of the other players were key components, but Makoto really was that X factor. We saw it last game in particular with the puck, and it's well deserved for the Batrider to be banned out as well. So I like this response from T1.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, even back when Boom were in their previous iteration, where it was the full Indonesian stack, it was Makoto oftentimes on his Storm Spirit, literally solo carrying games. And this was before Storm Spirit was that giga-busted version. So he is very worthy of being seen as one of the best mid laners in the world, let alone just in C.
Just hasn't had that opportunity too often just yet to shine on a LAN environment, but he definitely will coming up. See what the response is going to be for Talon. Look at that. All right. So this is a hero that has been banned out consistently whenever T1 go for the Morphling in the 8th pick. Every time it's pretty much AA, Terrorblade, and at Faceless Void, and sometimes they'll put a puck in there as well. So this is interesting that Talon, they're just like, all right, we're just going to go for the Faceless Void. Savage loves it. Often it's banned out in the second phase. Let's pick it up regardless here.
Now, it's probably going to be Savage playing it. It's his most picked position 1. But we've seen some support Faceless Void come through. Do you think there's any possibility at all of that happening?
We could catch some shenanigans. Maybe not. But I think they're pretty comfortable with it being a position 1 Void. I mean, now until the Druid, you could be a little bit worried.
I'm interested to see what they look to ban out as well on T1 in this phase, because the way to be able to counter that Lone Druid is just you need a lot of early damage. That's the main thing, right? You got to get right on top of the bear, and as well, you need consistent, like, percentage-based damage, because against both the Druid and the bear himself, they get quite high on the HP pool, especially if you're able to pop that true form. But you can't just go into these things that, like, deal percent damage, but then if you dispel them, they can't be reapplied, like the Arctic Burn, for example, because the Savage Roar applies a dispel too. So I want to see how they're going to look to address this. Faceless Void on his own does a decent amount. It's honestly almost worth chronoing just to be able to kill a bear, to be honest. But I'm going to need to see some supports that are able to deal that damage very consistently. Like, Phoenix isn't necessarily the best option, just because you've got a crazy amount of attack speed. You're already going up against a Marcy as well that's going to be able to deal with the egg pretty convincingly. So what is T1 going to look to ban out to make sure that's not a factor? Maybe Snapfire gets banned out now?
Bye-bye, Snapfire. Trying to take a look at the other game that T1 also ran the Lone Druid. The second phase of bans was Bristle, Wyvern, and the Pangolier. Won't have to worry about the Bristleback here. Are you considering about the Wyvern? Because Talon can put the Enchantress. Okay.
I'm not the biggest fan of the Wyvern this game. I know Lone Druid is like... Well, actually, you are against a lot of physical, I suppose, but... You've got a very good position 1 player on that. Wait, actually... Where is this Lone Druid being played? Because Ana really doesn't play that much Lone Druid.
He played it last time and he looked incredible. He went 11-0 and 8. I think it's Ana's here.
Okay, well, all I know is from some of the chats that we've had, Lone Druid was never in Ana's hero pool back when he was on OG. Like, specifically, they were like, "Oh, let's not pick this one." Like, that sort of extent. So, if he's been able to crack up on maybe his 4th or 5th Smurf coming through, and feels like he's confident with it, then, yeah, by all means, go ahead and pick it. But we'll see. We'll see how it ends up turning out. As for Q with his hero, I think maybe a Hoodwink could look to come out. I just want something else that's going to do damage into this Chronosphere, and something that's going to provide a little bit of that lockdown. High damage. Even a Quap, potentially. You know, Q plays the position 4 Quap occasionally, and you've got that potential to flex it to mid. It's another one of those lane dominators, so something that Makoto could look to take advantage of as well. There's that percent damage that I was talking about with the Zeus getting banned.
You see, Talon at the moment are putting a lot of emphasis on trying to protect the Faceless Void. Beastmaster, Viper, both banned out. Incredible laners versus the Void. Do you feel like they need to maybe consider something like a Visage here? Visage Marcy pairing is really strong in the lane. You've also have, I believe, some synergy with the Lone Druid as well, where you can just look to end the game incredibly fast.
It's a possibility, for sure, but I mean, Enchantress is also, yeah, it's a nice band, but like Enchantress is really good at being able to deal with it, so I was thinking maybe it wouldn't be as much of an issue, but I could completely understand just not wanting to be concerned about it and perhaps trying to take the game into a little bit of the later stages.
So you were mentioning the Hoodwink as a support to be able to dump damage inside the Chrono. Is there another one you could be considering here for Talon?
The Quap that I was talking about before, maybe the Mirana a little bit as well, but you don't exactly have the greatest setup for it. Techies, perhaps, but I feel like you're a little bit too, not passive, but it's just not the greatest response to a Lone Druid. He's going to be able to run you down a lot of the time. Could we see maybe a Pango coming out from Talon somewhere throughout this draft,
banned.
whether it be... yes.
It's banned second phase.
That's why we won't be seeing it.
No, that is why we will not be seeing it indeed. We'll see the Primal Beast instead. So Talon, some flex potential here. Trying to see if they played it so far. I'm not sure if they've... Not that I can see.
Give me an Oracle. Give me an Oracle. Dazzle... Not feeling as strong about it. Okay. Do you think they were wanting to take this away from Makoto as well? Because he's got a very good Invoker too.
Yeah, potentially. I think you could consider something like a Conquer here for Talon. One of the better matchups versus the Invoker.
Just don't care about having mana because you got the Tiebringer.
Yeah.
Some
and just being
damage.
able to get on top of the Invoker is really nice with the X as well. Can build into the armor, which is nice versus the Lone Druid. little bit of damage inside Chrono. Nothing crazy if you want to chuck the boat in. But I'm just kind of thinking the matchup into the Invoker.
What else are we looking to see picked up here? I want to know if this Primal Beast is a 3 or a 4. Because in my eyes, Lone Druid and Dazzle, there's nothing really stopping the Beast from just charging in and then trampling you down, right? That's why I wanted the Oracle. Not only just for the Fate's Edict aspect of negating all that magic damage, but it's also you're against a Faceless Void. So if he jumps in and Chronos someone, they would have been able to have that save through with the False Promise as well.
Can't you just Savage roll the Primal Beast in the lane?
I guess, but it's going to take a little bit to be able to be a lot more impactful. I mean, you could just look to try and isolate the Dazzle as well. So it's going to depend on a lot of the positioning coming through from Whitemon.
See?
They need a little bit more control on Talon, that's for sure. No real stuns outside of that Chrono. I guess Primal Beast is a little bit, but they've got plenty of ways to be able to interrupt that, but it's an AA instead. I mean, how are they going to lane this? Is there a position 4 Enchantress coming through now? And I mean, it is pretty decent with the AA getting rid of the lifesteal from the sidekick, the lifesteal shared, whatever you want to call it, Spirit Link from the Lone Druid, the Dazzle heals, the Invoker with a Quast. So you're going to get an okay amount of value through from this, but I just want to know where these lanes are going to be set up.
I think there is potential to play them in multiple roles here, because Q has a very good Enchantress as well, along with Hyde, so they can play at 4-5. Enchantress, Ancient Apparish can look to play with the Primal Beast, so you got the slows to kind of help him stay on top of heroes, which I think you're probably more than likely, because the Void is an okay laner, a little bit better with those buffs to time dilation if you go it in the lane where it looks really good. So I think that's where the Enchantress can come into play, where you play the Enchantress with the Faceless Void, try and get him out of the laning phase, and pair the AA with the Primal Beast.
Radiant team ban.
Just thinking about how effective it's going to be against the Bear as well. Like, you're going to do a decent job of trading against the Dazzle because you've got the attack range advantage on the AA. Even the Enchantress to a lesser extent, right? You could just throw the impetus out, back up, and probably win the trading battle. Of course, the extra movement speed on the Ench helps with that aspect too. And now, what mid lane are we expecting to see from Talon? They've left Makoto's all towards the end of the draft, and well, they have the last pick of the draft to be able to get it through. But look at the bans coming through. That Kunkka that you were mentioning before, that's not going to be an aspect. Also, the Ember Spirit gone. Is it a Void Spirit game coming through?
Yeah.
Just being able to dodge out the EMP and the like, and with the dissimulate.
Yeah, I'd put Void at the top for me for Talon. It's not a lot of damage in Chrono, but I think maybe if your both supports have a very good game, and if this is a position for Enchantress, then you can go damage and just be able to chuck the impetus inside the Chronos and rely on the Ice Blast as well. So maybe you just look for Hero to make plays, because they don't particularly have that capability. So Void Spirit will definitely help out. What about T1 though? Because we're looking for Cuckoo's hero. What are their flaws currently that they need to cover with the position 3?
Some ranged hero. What's up?
Can they Dazzle 3? Can you go Marcy Dazzle, damage over time for the lane versus the Void? Is there any flex potential here?
I feel like there could be a little bit. I was about to say, I was going to say that. No, it's fine. But I'm sure chat's going to be just exploding right now, because Cuckoo Venomancer is a little bit of a meme from back in the day. It kind of... I'm a little worried that we're going to see a similar thing of what we saw last game. You know, you're spending a lot of time in the lane, you might get a decent amount of farm there, but then you just fall off if you don't have this ongoing impact coming through. And it's not like you've got the easiest way to get in on top of all of these heroes and drop your poison over, right? Like, you're just going to get chased down pretty easily. You're very immobile. I guess the Gale slow is kind of nice against the Primal Beast. So maybe it's actually a Whitemon Venomancer and it's a Cuckoo Dazzle. I wouldn't hate that, just for the slow against the Primal Beast.
You may now select
And there's
your
that Void
heroes.
Spirit we were talking about.
Very good call.
Let's see
It's also...
where they end up going.
Okay, we'll be Cuckoo playing the Venom. So the lane matchup versus the Faceless Void is pretty solid for the Venomancer. Like, you do have damage over time, which the Faceless Void is going to struggle with, but As a game answer, it's a little bit different though. Like Faceless Void has the capability, especially with this Aghanim Shard, to jump in on the Venno. If it doesn't look like a good fight, you can jump out. They've got a lot of damage in the Chrono, Ice Blast as well, and like Venno is a hero that kind of wants to itemize a little bit more for like the versatility. I should say the utility is what I was looking for. Just use some auras maybe to help buff himself up, and I don't think you can do that this game with the Ancient Apparition. So. It's nice for the lane, but the game I'm a bit concerned about.
I think you could probably still look to go into something like a pipe on the Venomancer. Honestly, even just the Wraith Pact would be pretty decent on Cuckoo this game, right? Sure, the lifesteal won't have as much of an effect because of the Ancient Apparition, but just reducing a lot of the damage that's coming through from, your Primal Beasts, a lot of the burst from the Void Spirit as well, even just the damage inside of the Chronosphere, having that Wraith Pact up and running, plus even just for the extra damage that it's going to be able to provide over to your Lone Druid could be pretty significant. So I could see them going down that route. The thing that I want to change this time around for T1 is they, again, don't really have anyone outside of Zephyr on his Marcy that's going to be able to find the backline. And I feel like that's, again, going to be so very important. You need to make sure that you get that instant lockdown onto the Void Spirit, because what is there? What's going to stop Makoto from just running around in a lot of these team fights? He's highly skilled enough that he's not going to get caught out by Tornado EMP combos. Probably not going to let a Lone Druid Bear get close enough to him. So it's all on the Marcy right now. So I think that's where Talon are going to be looking to focus a lot of their attention, is just where is Marcy in a lot of these team fights, and how does that impact how we can take some of these engagements?
All right, well, we'll see what's in store for us for this second game here. Talon one game away of moving over and booking their ticket into the grand finals. But then I think we're going to game 3. I like T1's lineup. I'm concerned that they are just going to be able to run over this game with the heroes that they've got. There's a lot of synergy with the Lone Druid. You can give the bear the alacrity. You can give the bear the sidekick. They've got winning lanes, which is incredibly important with a lineup that needs to end the game early. An Ancient Apparition Enchantress, they're going to struggle with heroes running at you. Faceless Void 2 will struggle as well. I think T1 are going to be able to take this.
I think T1 have the potential ports that, sure, you have a great defensive capabilities once it gets to the mid game, but in the lane, you're wanting to abuse that poison touch for as much as possible. So Whitemon is going to need to be very careful with his positioning, because if he goes forward just a little bit too much one of these times, if KP, maybe it's going to be up until level 4 that it actually happens, but if you can get that onslaught and trample off onto the Dazzle, then there's really not much you can do about it.
A small adjustment.
We get to see the exciting battle between the mid laners once again, with Makoto on the Void Spirit and Thompson on his Invoker. An Invoker player who, I mean, he's been known to make some incredible plays, Mr. Thompson, on this hero. Pioneered some of the builds, so we'll see how he's going to be able to shape up. It should be a pretty decent matchup, honestly, between the two. As the game goes on, it's very nice for the Void Spirit to be able to get on top of the Invoker, but Thompson will have this slight advantage with being able to purge off the Resonant Pulse Shield.
Especially now that it's been buffed up a little bit. Just the Aghanim Scepter being able to add to the amount absorbed rather than just refresh the base amount. Feels nice for all the Void Spirit players out there.
I think this lane is very skill dependent. If Makoto hits a couple of Aether Remnants and is able to put Thompson in a threshold where he's a little bit weak, then he might be able to get more last hits. But if he misses some Remnants, it could be a little bit more difficult with how he's going to be able to fare in this lane. But we'll take a look at our side lanes for the moment with how top is shaping up. You said this was the all-important lane here for Talon. What are we looking for in regards to the level timings? When can they get active?
I mean, they can get active as early as level 2, depending on the positioning. Nice deny coming through there from the Venomous Gale. Just the one skill point on both of these heroes right now that's an active, so time dilation's not going to do the most. But yeah, like it's going to depend on Whitemon's positioning. If he's out of position, then an onslaught into a trample can end up killing him. But that's not going to happen until level 3, because 99% of the time you're going up roll level 1, just because of how effective it is at buffing up your damage for the laning stage.
And with the bottom lane, we already see Savage leveling up a point in the time dilation. Do you feel like, is there ever a reason for him to go an extra level in a lane like this in particular, because of Venomancer?
No, I don't think so necessarily. I think he just wants to be using that time walk as much as possible. Whenever you're against like these ranged, oppressive heroes, time lock isn't really the biggest value to get in the lane. So I think it's mostly just about the survivability. Hyde's going to be doing a lot of the pressuring and the damage. Just want to be able to get that safe farm as much as possible.
See both supports on bottom, recognizing their role. Therefore, he blocks the hard camp instead of the small camp, so making sure Hyde's not going to be able to play with any of the creeps. He does have some camps back towards the outpost, however.
Getting the Vul Assassin, trying to bully away Zephyr here a little bit. I hate this creep so much, man. It's so annoying whenever you got a tango running. In terms of that mid lane that you were talking about before, it really does feel like Topson's going to have a fine enough time in this lane, though, right? You mentioned that if he gets low on the back of some Aether Remnants, scratch that, he's actually getting a few right clicks in the face.
Nice dodge, Makoto with the dissimulate. He's got the right click range. All the new heroes can hit from afar, and you see that is exactly the case here. Makoto finds a solo kill, and he'll get a tip as well from Hyde. Beautifully done.
Caster Curse strikes again. Just able to get the kill. I mean, it's Makoto, right? Number 1 in SEA for a reason. And he's even going to be able to secure that water rune for himself once he's picked up this bottle. What's he got coming out to him? Just the boots and the raindrops. I like it. I want to be able to withstand some of that pressure coming through from Topson, but I really feel like that shouldn't be happening. You know, that's only on the back of getting hit by the Aether Remnant. Otherwise, your Quas, your ranged, pretty equivalent in terms of the right-click damage that you're able to do, so for Makoto to get that early kill, that is just heavily based on the skill.
Discreetly.
Top lane, Whitemon. A bit of trouble here, KP. Trampling all over the Dazzle. This is something you were mentioning, that Whitemon's going to have some issues with his positioning in this lane. The Selv's going to be cancelled off instantly. KP needs one more right click, and again, one of the new heroes being able to right click from afar.
I wonder if they actually... Sounds weird, but did he want to die? I don't really feel like it. He's got more than half mana, but you had a skill point available on Ana at the time, and he didn't choose to put it into the Savage
Bottom
Roar,
lane,
which would
Cuckoo.
have saved.
He's in a bit of trouble as well. They're going to try and chase him down in the tree line. Zephyr will finally re-enter the lane, but great Delta split. They'll avoid the jump in from Zephyr, and the toss, it'll only send the Conqueror packing. Well, they're even considering about TPing the Dazzle down, but he's not going to look to join them, so it's just going to be the two members on T1 at the moment. Savage, time dilation once again, and he just gets the time walk away, but now Q, he's going to enter the party. He'll have the Ancient Apparition as a little bit of an unfair advantage. It was a 2-on-2. It was nice and even, but now with the position 4 coming down, they'll get that +1 required to kill off the Marcy.
You got another Centaur Conqueror here from Hyde. They might just look to go in onto Cuckoo. He's still very slow at this stage, and you don't really want to be using the Venomous Gale just onto a singular support. That's just free reign. Oh, he's actually using the Gale onto the Conqueror instead. Is he just dead here?
He's going to try.
He'll
He
be
should
able
make
to
the TP.
away.
Do.
But I mean,
Well,
now what do you get out of this lane?
Are they going to be able to chase down Makoto? One more right-click Whitemon just out of range to be able to reapply the poison attack. Zephyr can toss him back, but it will not matter. Makoto doesn't want to pop the DD for some of the bottle sips, and he will not need to. So Talon,
I mean, this bottom lane, you specifically picked this Venomancer to be dominating the lane, and it certainly isn't the case. Faceless Void, second on net worth. Cuckoo on his Veno, all the way down at the bottom of the cores.
and this is exactly what you need for Talon, because this Faceless Void will take a long time to come online. And T1, they have a lineup that want to end the game early. So the fact that Savage is going to get an item earlier than probably what they would be expecting when they were looking at the draft.
Yeah, for sure. He's even looking to go into the Midas as well, playing around that standard Talon style, right? There's no amazing heroes that are going to have damage going inside the Chronosphere super early on, so he just wants to be a little bit more passive. He wants to be able to farm up the jungle, open up the map a bit more for Enchantress, AA, to get some of those early-ish levels.
Feels like we're going to be putting a lot of attention onto Tops in this game to make his rotations. I was mentioning he was a bit of a pioneer of some particular Invoker builds, and I'm seeing a treads into a Falcon Blade. I'm yet to see this. Maybe some of the other regions in their qualifiers have pulled this out, but see how this is able to shape out for the Coswex Invoker.
Does mean that you're able to keep up somewhat in scaling, though, which is always nice whenever you're an Invoker and you're not going down the Midas route. So maybe just wants to be a little bit more brawling-oriented, considering that you're playing it with a Venno, you're playing with a Lone Druid, very early timings. Same sort of thing with a Marcy.
Are they going to dive Thompson? And Makoto, he commits with the double ultimate. Makoto's now stuck under the T1 tower. A Remnant will provide a little bit of distance away. A couple more right clicks. And now with a poison touch, but Savage! What a rotation! The Chrono clipping 3. They've got Q nearby as well. Talon! They're on the ball in the second game. Even KP said, screw it. I'll come join the mid-team fight as well as Talon. 6-0 start.
But, top side, they've left it kind of solo here. Ana, as soon as that happens, just with that Blightstone, the Gloves of Haste, immediately goes into full-on rat mode. He wants to make sure that you're getting something in exchange for this, and oh, that's a free tower taken with just one person. But they're going to look to respond with everyone for this. They actually end up cancelling the TP. Who is that on?
Invoker.
Is that on Thompson?
So Thompson's not going to be here. And now they can just chase down Zephyr. Another kill for Talon. T1 tower claim mid. Uh-oh, this is not how the lanes were supposed to go.
Ana's playing very aggressively, just wanting to push this lane as quickly as he can into the tower. Be able to back off down towards the bottom side. So some valuable net worth going away. And better yet, the experience. But now he's just... this is the game on Ana. Previously, it felt like Thompson was doing all of the heavy lifting, but he's having a decent start here. Going to look to try and run down the AA, and probably will. No use in... I don't even have the TP, but... wouldn't have been able to accomplish anything with it either. But if you could take away 2 tier 1 towers, then things don't feel so dire for them. They're going to be able to come back into this game.
Mid lane, Thompson, he's going to be in some trouble here. Makoto gets a jump, a nice sidestep. Thompson should be able to hold them back with the Tornado, but Talon, they're still pushing on forward. So only Cuckoo with the rotation at the moment. We have the power rune for another 20 seconds as well, so both sides will themselves back away.
Another tower.
Has fallen.
Yeah, that kill as well down bottom gave some urn charges to Cuckoo. One thing I'm a bit concerned about is Thompson does have an urn queued up, however. So we'll see. It looks like he has committed into it. And Circuit's nothing crazy, but didn't have it
You
prior.
can just get a null tally.
Yeah. KP, very close to getting the onslaught onto the TP.
He's buying it. He's buying it.
Dyer's top tower
Look,
has fallen.
It's really nice stats. So, I mean, Cuckoo's just going to be forced to backpack it every
right.
time. Look, it
Quit
is.
half
Come
of the
on,
copium,
man.
bro.
1.4 mana regen, 2 all attributes, 2 armor. The stats are incredible. Like, it's a very, very cheap item. What it provides you is nice, especially with a Venno who does have some mana issues. And so I feel like you're okay with it. Just backpack it. You don't backpack it, then we got some issues.
Okay, so how long until you think Cuckoo is demanded to sell this this Earth that he's got right now?
No, he's not going to sell it. If he doesn't backpack it like 2 times. I'll hold that thought mid lane. This is not an easy kill at all, and you see Makoto recognizes how his exactly. Okay, so if he doesn't backpack his urn like maybe a couple times and then make the mistake, then he'll be told to sell it. KP? Bit of trouble. Try and onslaught away, but that will be stopped instantly from T1. A much needed kill to get them on the board.
All right, Thompson got the urn charges. He still doesn't know maybe about the situation. Well, hopefully for T1's sake, doesn't come back to bite them. Of course, it does allow for a whole lot more of that chain stun, considering how lacking they are in it. Maybe now they can look to go for a few more of these +1 pickoffs. But like I was saying before, up against this Void Spirit, Faceless Void, even the Primal Beast to a lesser extent, you need Zephyr to be there if you're going to get any kind of lockdown happening.
What can we expect out of Ana and his timings in this game? Because we do see he's pretty much one of the few cores on T1 that he's getting a ridiculous amount of farm, working to the Desolator as his next item. Is that Deso going to be enough for T1 to start to group up?
I don't think the Deso is for the purpose of T1 grouping up. I think he's just going to continue playing full rat mode. He just needs to try and do that to drive Talon away from putting pressure onto the Venomancer and the Invoker. They need time to be able to come back into this game, and that's what the rat style is going to do. It's going to force defensive rotations, which means that Topson, Cuckoo, they're going to be able to pick up a little bit of that extra farm. Honestly, even Zephyr as well. They're prioritizing him to get a decent amount of net worth too.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Response coming through. Not wanting to
You
give
might be
up
able
this
to
bear
beat the
for free.
bear. Yeah, Makoto's in a bit of trouble here if they can keep the roots going. Zephyr's going to look to jump in. But a great jump out from Makoto, and they do end up getting the bear kill. Now, to the top side of the map we go is Cuckoo.
Dire's
Gets the
bottom
poison over off. It's going to clip onto both the heroes here, but Savage feels like he has an opening to drop the Chronosphere. Makoto's going to be nearby with a double damage rune. He'll use the Remnant onto Cuckoo, then they'll be able to turn to deal with the Dazzle. Beautifully done from Talon as they bring 4 members to be able to take the skirmish top.
fortified.
Nana immediately looking to try and go into the mid push, but you've at
Look at
least got
Thompson's
people
positioning.
around this time. Yeah.
He's got Zephyr nearby. We'll be
Going
able
out
to
for
dispel
lockdown.
off the double damage rune. Makoto, he
Stayed
goes
in.
in. And now he's out of ultimate charges, so Anna, he can freely charge him down. They'll give the Alacrity over to the bear, but once again, the 8th, the Remnant, buying enough valuable time for Makoto just to get out of danger. Hey, he resummoned this bear. This is important. Evening Blast. They even give the movement speed
Makoto's
as
committing.
well.
So close. Would have been a full minute without that bear. Effectively a useless position 1, but, well, it is, again, a much more defensive movement that's forced out of Talon. They really wanted to make sure that they were maintaining their tier 1 mid. Of course, whenever they get the opportunity to do that, it means that Cuckoo is able to sit up top, holding on to his urn with 0 charges in it at the moment. Topson needs to get into that Witchblade. They need some of that consistent damage coming out that's just going to be consistent across the Time Walk, that's going to be going through the Resonant Pulse Shield, just preventing a lot of these Talon heroes from being a lot tankier than they have any right to be.
I think, oh, T1 just smoked under the ward. 23 Savage will be okay. I think for T1, really, the big thing for them is they need to take this T1 tower mid and then start to ward around Roche. You have this Deso coming up shortly, you know, with the 1 point Alacrity, nothing crazy, but you have maxed out the sidekick, so you will be able to take objectives, but you need the T1 down first to be able to open that opportunity. And there we go.
Radiant's
Some wards down.
is under attack.
They're going to look to do that. Seeing as well, are we just finished up the Deso on...
Oh, I don't think so.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
One more Mithril Hammer, I believe.
Okay, one more Mithril Hammer. I mean, it's a decent enough timing, but the thing is, it's going to become so much more difficult for T1 as soon as KP gets into the BKB for himself. He's only about 1,000 gold away from being able to do so, and once he's got that, you're just able to dive in. Nothing that they've got is going to be able to stop the tramples from, again, just going in onto the backline and creating a ton of havoc. That's where Faceless Void is in his absolute prime, where he's just able to play within chaos.
Look at the farm they're getting across the map on Talon. KP gets all of the triangle. Meanwhile, T1, they tried to invade Radiant's triangle, but the Ancients hadn't spawned. The hard camp wasn't there as well, so Ana has to run to meet the creep wave up top, so a little bit of time that he wasn't getting farmed. The rest of T1 are also grouping up at the moment, so this net worth lead continuing to grow for Talon. It's up to 5,000 now.
Dire's
I'm going to
bottom
need to
tower
pull these
is
creeps
under
off of the
attack.
tower, though. Don't want to have too much free damage going into that one. I have to ask as well, are we even calling it the triangle anymore? Because it was the triangle because there were 3 camps to farm, and now there's no small camp. So what is it now? Is it a line?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm sticking with triangle. It's
Dire's bottom
easy.
tower is under
I think
attack.
everyone knows it kind of by that now.
What if we called it something and then it could be our thing, you know? Like
Alright, so Makoto
Slack's
has,
calling the Radiant Tier 2 tower at bot lane the Jeff Hill. He tried to call this this stand.
When did you try and do that?
A couple of
I've
days ago.
never heard that. Oh, okay. That's a big item for Makoto now to complete. Scepter coming out on the Courier. They're going to chuck the Ice Blast up the top. Maybe feeling like KP can jump on her. TP's coming in as well. Ice Blast won't connect. Let's see if they're still going to go for the Druid. No, not the case. KP just wants the cleanup. I really like how Dio playing. Like, invading the jungle. They're incredibly strong right now, even though they are 5,000 gold behind. I think one pick-off and they can go into Roche. I don't believe they can do it right now because of all the ultimates still available for Talon.
They seem to think they can.
This is scary, man. They could definitely execute the fight and prove me wrong, but with all of the AoE ultimates that Talon have, this is going to be a very difficult Roche if Talon do contest it.
Has Hyde got any creeps to be able to play with? Maybe that was why they just emphasized so much in making sure that they took away at least the medium camp from the... I'm not calling it a triangle. The area, the Radiant Ancient area, because that would have allowed them to just scout this out much more easily. So just little plays like that preventing the engagement inside the area. Early smoke coming through, just allowing Ana to finish off the Roche for themselves, maybe trying to catch them off guard.
Catch Makoto. The chain control has to be ever so perfect, and he's lost mana now, Makoto. Actually, still got enough to be able to get the Astral Step away. No way! Thompson Invoker. What? Oh my lord!
Read like a book, and they know where Savage is as well.
Oh my lord! Beautifully done from T1. You get Roche. You get a crazy kill onto the Void Spirit thanks to Thompson's Invoker. This is why you pick him as hero.
Indeed, and they know exactly, like I was saying before, where Savage is. They know he's playing to the right-hand side there. They just need to watch out for any sorts of TPs coming through, but sidekick on a bear that's already life-stealing so much naturally with the Mask of Madness, and now the Desolator. This is one of the big strengths that they've got, just able to melt these towers.
Hang on, he's going to just charge into the middle. KP. Suppose with a fresh BKB completed, so he feels strong enough. They get a T2 tower. Very nicely done for T1. This is a lot of their timing here off the back of the Aegis. They need to continue to play aggressively across the map. You want to fight here, though, on Talon. You got a great wall to the high ground. KP's just going to look to try and target down with the Venomancer.
Yeah,
With the Ice Blast following up forward as well. Cuckoo's going to charge into the middle to at least get the poison over off before they secure the kill. And T1, they can turn it around though if they get a couple lucky roots out, and they will do just that onto the Primal Beast. But towards the northern side, Thompson, he's being caught out. He's in trouble at the moment, but Savage, he doesn't even get the Chrono off. Pump faked it for the first time. The Cold Stat was able to disrupt the second use, and they kill off the Faceless Void. But can they catch up to Makoto though? Into the tree line, a perfect timing with the Dissimulate. He will have an ultimate charge up shortly, so Makoto should be fine.
Can't afford to give your life up like that though on Savage. Doesn't have the BKB finish just yet.
They see Makoto under the ward.
Can they kill him though? He's got a lot of those charges back up, all cooldowns available.
Daytime.
Quick fingers.
Honestly, maybe if it was still nighttime, he would have been able to get that kill, but turning today at a perfect timing. Thompson, what's he lose? Just the Ogre Axe on the Courier. Not close to anything. Hyde! We'll be alright. We got a ball game here. We're starting to get a little bit out of control, but again, T1, they've got Aegis for still another 2 minutes 30, so they are in fighting shape. They can get a lot more map control off the back of this.
Savage has got to be careful where he's positioning as well. The vision right now that Talon have is kind of minimal, and they haven't really revealed on the map too much on T1, so he's going to move on forward solo though, just trying to push this lane out a little bit, play around with the rest of his team, just trying to act as bait. He knows how juicy of a prospect he is, but bot lane, I feel like that is a much sweeter option rather than just getting a single kill onto the Faceless Void. This is a high reward, low risk play when you've got a lone druid as farmed as this, as well as a double creep wave with the siege creep.
Yeah, and they're going to go high ground. Why not? Got the Plague Wards to be able to set themselves up. You've got the Alacrity on the bear. You can even chuck up the sidekick as well. This bear is going to do a lot of damage. Talon need to address it.
Can they hold long enough for Savage to just get 200 gold for that BKB to finish this up before he's able to fight?
Well, they're going to target down the bear instead. Look at the poke damage from afar. They don't even have to heavily commit. Grave, will it survive? Ice Blast as well, but no, the bear goes down. Very nicely done. Honestly, dude, this Ancient Apparition with the Action and Match Out Ice Vortex, he's going to get a lot of fun. We see how difficult it is to siege into this.
Oh yeah, it's very, very good. You can just sit yourself in the jungle, still have that full global impact because you've got your ice shards, really cold feet, the chilling touch, they don't do much in a lot of these team fights. So yeah, a greedy support is really enabled by picking this Ancient Apparition, specifically against all of this regen and healing that they've got on T1 side. But they were able to get the BKB up on 23 Savage, so now he's able to fight. He's able to fight a little bit, play a little bit more around the rest of his team, just in case a fight does break out. He really wants that Aghanim Shard, though. He wants to be able to consistently have that impact in a lot of these team fights to perhaps force out some unideal BKB and spell usages.
T1, they just smoked under Observer Ward.
Yeah. They just wanting to bait this out for as long as they can. They'll have the timer ticking down basically right on the 23-minute mark. Then they might even look to go for a crazy engagement in, just popping Hyde on the front lines. He's going to be the first one that identifies any kind of smoke play and just good, solid, consistent positioning coming through from Talon this game.
I like this call from T1 though. Like, they scan on the high ground, recognizing that Talon are up there, and they cannot address that. So they're just going to look to go bottom instead, force them back away from their power position. I don't believe they can commit though, because we saw what happened last time with the Bear, and you don't have the Aegis now. So as long as you just force Talon away from this powerful spot that they were playing in, now T1 can get a little bit of the jungle control. And really for me, I feel like T1 are just trying to wait out till Roche spawns. I don't think they're strong now to take team fights until they have the second life again.
Yeah, it really does feel like they want this AC as well, minimum, on Ana, just to make that push even easier, even just providing a little bit more of that sustain for the rest of your team against the eventual right-click damage that's coming out from the Faceless Void. Even Enchantress to a slightly lesser extent. I guess she's got the impetus, but if you've got the BKBs running, it helps out a little bit too.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
It's a Venomancer enhancer.
It's a interesting
did
item.
Go into that pipe we were talking about, pipe or the Wraith Pact, so really wouldn't hate seeing him go into the Wraith Pact next. Feels like this is the item that he was more comfortable in getting into right now, just so that you can commit yourself 30% magic resistance without even popping the barrier. Does feel quite significant.
It's got that Aeon disc, and it does look like the Vlad's into the Wraith Pact queued up afterwards as well. Another interesting item is KP going to the Scepter. It does provide the break as well, if it's able to get that connection with the little projectiles that are released. So if you get that onto the Lone Druid, that's going to be really nice to mitigate some of the damage.
Mm-hmm.
Have you checked Ana's Bear's name as well, by the way?
Have a look. Oh. Very interesting. Well, I can verify a few of those stats.
Top lane, Thompson. Looks like they're going to be able to get the jump onto the Evoker. Zephyr's nearby to maybe get some bonus movement speed out. But the Ice Blast will connect. With the global potential, thanks to Q, they're going to be able to bring down Thompson's Invoker. And it looks like Hyde will successfully TP out as well and drop some voice lines in the meantime.
Hasta luego, see you later, he says. And, well, he even puts up the high five as he makes his great escape. Just, again, really good map play coming out from Talon right now, and it's not like they don't really care about going into the super later stages of this game, right? Because Faceless Void, one of the best heroes for the ultra late game, as long as you're not getting caught out by that initial stun. Even an Enchantress is going to be a fourth core, essentially.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Speaking about the Enchantress, he's going to look to pair up with 23 Savage. Easy kill onto Zephyr. A little bit more gold into the bank of that kind of pseudo position 3 that we have from Hyde. Level 12, almost Hurricane Pike. Yeah, definitely feels like Talon are more than happy with being able to head into the late game T1. This is, for me, it comes down to the second Roche. If they're unable to get this Aegis, I feel like their lineup has just missed their timing.
Yeah, and speaking of timings, KP, he's got that Aghanim Scepter completed in about a couple of seconds, so that's just so much extra damage that you've got coming out. All those additional projectiles and the break. Pretty significant too, for the reasons that we mentioned against the Lone Druid specifically. I wonder, it looks like he's going into the Wraith Pact and the Aeon Disc on Cuckoo. You have to wonder, like, if they're able to get this second Roche, what do you go into? Do you give the Aghanim Shard over to the Dazzle, or do you give it to the Venomancer just to try and catch them out with the with using the BKB or even just the uproar on KP for the level 15 talent, just to give them that little bit of an extra stun, you know?
Yeah, I'm actually not quite sure who they give it to, because I think there's even an argument to be made for Thompson to take it. Maybe because he's not too close to the level 20 talent. That extra 80% chaos meteor damage is a lot. Mid lane, Ice Blast onto Ana. Makoto's going to be able to jump as well. Ana, he wasn't ready for it. An unsuspecting move from Talon, and they just blow up the lone druid. And that is as soon as Roshan spawns.
Be able to go right on in. They want to take away some of this vision, but Cuckoo positioning himself fairly well.
They're going to jump
scare off Hyde.
Into the river. Look at the alacrity damage coming up from Zephyr, but the Chronosphere eclipse onto Thompson, but he's able to get the protection off. They don't have the damage at the moment thanks to the BKB. Let's see if Thompson's going to be able to continue to run himself away. The respect coming up from Talon. They will not enter the high ground. Instead, they're going to deal with the heroes that are still caught outside in the river. Zephyr is able to jump on forward, but Cuckoo, he doesn't have this capability. They should be able to chase him down. The onslaught into the middle, but a perfect
what a tornado.
As Thompson breaks the combination. As T1, they've successfully avoided that attempt. What a beautiful move from them. They dealt the split away. Thompson back to the high ground. Cuckoo in the middle, just soaking up abilities. And now Ana's back alive to look to take this Roshan.
Thompson, by far the MVP of that team fight. He was just kiting around Makoto, even able to get him on the retreat. It's all around just protecting this Observer Ward, and you've got an Ancient Apparition. I feel like it should be a lot easier than it was. Ice Vortex on the top. You've got an Enchantress with a Dragon Lance, excuse me, and they just stuck around, kind of dipping their toe in rather than just diving in completely. It's the power of that vision again, man.
Now we do see Aghanim Shard was given over to Thompson. He's got that couple of meteors to be landed down as well. Also reduces the cooldown by 15 and ages into the hands of Ana. I was saying this second Roche had to be given over to T1. If they weren't able to find it, they would be in a very difficult position for their lineup to be able to combat Talon in the late game. But they've got second Roche, and we again have a pretty close ball game here.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
For sure. This time around, at least they have something that's able to put this tempo up. I mean, look at the speed that they're able to take some of these towers. Just getting about 5 hit by the Spirit Bear that shall not be named.
They again can poke the bear, but then they need to protect him. They're going to do just that. The jump onto KP. KP's gone.
He couldn't be KP.
No opportunities. Now Hyde, he's also getting chased down by the bear. Shan's going to be able to slow it down for the moment. But the tier 3's already been melted. Zephyr is into the middle. The Enchantress posturing aggressively. Makoto's going to look to buy in some time, but Savage to the back. Gets the Chrono onto 3. It's on the saving support as well. There's going to be no grave to keep them alive. As Savage, he can now turn to try and deal with Cuckoo. A 4-staff into the tree line, but it's not enough. As Savage now, he'll turn his attention towards the lone druid off the back of the respawn. Ana's got nothing to keep him healthy. As Talon, what an incredible high ground defense. They say, screw your age's advantage. We can fight into it even down KP.
And man, just getting the perfect counter initiation coming through there from Savage, and they had the damage to come through. It's a pretty scary high ground to have to go into. But, I mean, it just shows the advantage of what happens if you're clumping up just that little bit too much. High ground, probably the scariest area to be if you're playing on this Dazzle. Can't be that far behind, and well, you saw what happens when you get a little bit too close as well. This is really on a knife's edge right now. It feels like any single time that T1 win a team fight, it's going to be a full lane of racks, but Talon, excuse me, their team fight is just so far superior.
I mean, that was incredible. They just baited the Enchantress. Hyde was able to 4-staff out. They got the Ice Blast onto 2. And we're not even mentioning the Chrono, which was clipped 3 and got the saving support. And then the Enchantress could just start pummeling into them. Like, this is looking really scary now for T1. They're going to have to pull something crazy out of the hat.
They've got a lot of mobility as well, just to be able to get away from the Marcy, to be able to get away from even the Venomancer to a lesser extent, from the Roots, from the Spirit Bear. You've got the Ogre Seal Totem, and you've got 3 separate 4-staffs in addition to the mobility on Faceless Void and Void Spirit. So it's very clear the MO coming through here from Talon. It's just kite around these fights as much as possible. And, well, they're doing a pretty good job so far. Anytime one of these big team fights break out, it always seems to be them on the winning end. It's just they haven't, as yet, been able to take advantage of it in terms of map control. That's still in T1's favor. Bottom lane, fairly well pushed in. They might need to deal with top lane a little bit on T1, especially
Ice
considering how
Blast
that last
onto
fight went.
3! Oh my lord! Okay, Makoto. Not gonna follow up. Has already used a couple of his abilities. Cuckoo's on the prowl though. T1 are gonna connect as well. Makoto's in a lot of trouble. They're gonna be able to capitalize. As Talon get a little bit too antsy, they feel like there was an opening for them to take a fight with that ward on the higher ground, and well, that'll result in Makoto going down.
No glyph available, bro. They don't have the refresh either. This could be 2 lanes of racks, honestly, just off of one death. One bit of poor positioning coming through from Makoto, who he just bought out an item quite recently with Kaya. So nowhere close to having that buyback.
They will have the chrono up in 8, so I think they can defend.
They're still playing scared. Ana was actually just a little bit too far away from the bear to even be hitting the tower. Kind of nutty, and someone might need to TP up towards this top side of the map to be able to deal with this push. Creep wave will do it a little bit, but it really feels like T1 could have potentially gotten so much more out of this push.
We have Makoto spawning up shortly, so Talon will be playing with the full force. Be able to combat into T1, who is still posturing aggressively inside Radiant's territory. In fact, it's going to be T1 that smoke first. They see KP at the moment. But is that the hero you want to jump? In fact, they're going to look for the wraparound. It's illusion to work with, nothing too crazy.
The Wraith Pact on Cuckoo as well. So that is a significant factor if he's able to drop that and the pipe as these initiations are coming in on Savage. But
they're going to try and hide. Maybe with the damage coming through for the meatball as well, they'll secure the kill, but Savage, he gets a chrono onto both the cores.
Oh, the
Ice Blast as well. It'll click onto Ana, but they haven't been able to blow anyone up throughout the ultimate, so maybe they're going to be cautious here on Talon if they want to stick around. KP, a lot of damage out of the Pulverize, going to try and chase him down, but down to the south side. Thompson, he'll secure the kill onto the support, but they're still going to be cautious here. Thompson will be able to reposition thanks to the bonus movement speed. The Deafening Blast will push back the Faceless Void as well. Savage, he doesn't want to let them go for free. Another time walk on forward. I don't think he's going to be able to catch up. Are they considering this, Thompson? What shenanigans are you up to here? How can you pull out of the hat to try and kill off the Faceless Void? And, well, he won't even stick around to make the attempt. But the ultimate on cooldown for the Marseille, they will be lacking the damage, so another kill for 23 Savage.
just, I want to see the replay, but I want to keep my eyes on this bottom lane just because you've got Thompson on his Faceless Void still hanging around the area. But if we do get a chance to replay, maybe now if we can, I also want you to put your eyes onto Makoto. They don't hit the perfect Chronosphere. It doesn't hit onto everyone. Dazzle is actually outside of it. But rather than laying damage into it, make sure to get the silence off with the Aghanim Scepter, with the Aether Remnant. You still eventually get it off, but the damage has been done. They're able to pick off a lot of these targets. You keep away the healing. It just results in such a victorious team fight. Great team play once again, realizing what his job is needing in the middle of these team fights. They've got plenty of damage without the Void Spirit.
See how messy these fights can look, though. With KP charging somewhere, Savage jumping, Makoto doing the same thing as well. Savage is already level 25, man. What the hell? He's 6 levels ahead of the second highest in this game. 23 Savage is having a hell of a game here in the upper bracket final. 7-1-9. Look at the GPN from him. 748. He's well and truly on top, and I'm not quite surprised. I mean, his Faceless Void is always something to fear. They tried to counter it. They've got the lineup to deal with it early, but now that he came online, now that he had an incredible lane, like, we're seeing the issues with killing off and dealing with the Void.
Kodo making sure Savage knows about it. The greedy mid tipping the inconsistent carry coming through here from the two that have previously been shunned by some other members within the SEA region, but they're certainly turning it out in this game so far. Maybe we should call him 25 Savage just because of how quickly he's able to hit up onto a lot of these high levels.
Good old Midas. What an item. He's gonna go Link. I was gonna say, is he gonna go Refresher next? Oh, he's already got
already got it.
Refresher. Okay, very cool. Very cool.
What if he got
so
two?
farmed.
What if you could refresh the refresher?
Oh, that'd be a lot of mana. I don't know what you would do. You might have some issues. What do? You chuck your boots in your backpack or your Midas when it's on cool? Oh, I mean, I don't know. Attack speed's both are really nice in the void. You just hold triple mangoes.
Hold the pupil's gift as well for the extra stats.
Well, Savage now with a second Chrono for T1 to deal with. Can they actually deal with it, man? I don't know, because Savage has been clipping multiple heroes, what feels like in every single Chronosphere.
It's been a couple of games in a row now where T1 have gone for this, like, pick-off domination, but not necessarily the team fight control, you know? And it's a couple of times now where Talon have identified that big weakness and they've just said, okay, well, if they're not going to have a bunch of stuns, then we just go a lot of ways to be able to get out of it, you know? Primal Beast, plenty tanky. What's he going into? Is that a Shivas that he's picking up, or is it just a casual plate mail on KP? But did Savage just refresh for nothing?
I don't know
His
what
Chrono
the status...
had like 20 seconds left.
Okay, thank you. I was going to say, I don't know what the stat... It was for the Midas. Come on
Sure.
now. Think smarter.
Let's go with that.
On.
I'm not thinking like a carry.
Yeah, it's just a support mentality you have. No.
Who would want an ultimate like Chrono in a team fight, you know?
Oh my lord. Alright, well, we see T1. Name of the game for them is just looking to split push the map. This mid lane's going to take a little bit of damage. Alacrity on the catapult. It's going to take a lot of damage, actually. Someone's forced to come back.
Kite will be able to deal with it. They're trying to hunt.
They
back up to be able to do it.
They actually, I think, I'm not sure if T1 can 5v5 now at this stage of the game. I think you really have to be considering about trying to split up the map, which is exactly what they're doing, and just looking for the rat play. Because they will push incredibly fast. And even if like a Marcy's there or the Invoker's there with the bear, you just give the Alacrity or Sidekick over. I actually do not think T1 can 5v5 at this stage of the game. So it's potentially something they need to consider.
And that's what Anna thinks as well. Look at his quick buy. He's going into the Aghanim Scepter, so he wants to be able to just throw the bear into a lot of these engagements without putting himself in harm's way.
I say Q showing's going to be cautious. In fact, it's the bear that is in a bit of trouble. Would have been an easy kill, especially with KP using the Pulverize for that. He's got to resummon on Ana, but this is 2 minutes without now a second bear. And this is where Talent have got a big opportunity. I guess you're lucky that Roche is not spawning for another 2 minutes, so they might get away with it.
Other big timing's coming. I mean, the true form on the Lone Druid is kind of nice, so maybe Ana's just going to try and bait out his position a bunch of times where you basically only have like a 10-second downtime on the true form, which I mean, you could just put yourself in team fights, make yourself a much higher priority, and just have the Lone Druid bear on the other side of the map. I think that's how I would be looking to play this one. Once you pick up the Axe, of course. Even Q getting very farmed going into the Scythe of Vice, which we've seen a bunch of times. Was it Q last time that we saw him go into that super greedy item that ended up paying up for him? I feel like it might have been. Or Xiao Bonbon, I think it might have been.
What, in the qualifiers so far?
Yeah.
There was one where JG on the Conquer. But support, I'm trying to remember. Yeah.
I want to say it was Xiao Bonbon.
A lot of games that have been going on. We are getting towards the tail end here of the qualifiers. Second final day, the upper bracket final, and Talon, they are a couple fights away of booking their ticket into the grand finals. T1 we see. We're going to try and buy some time for them to get towards these next set of items, but again, Talon, they're also getting stronger and stronger.
They are indeed. Just keeping these lanes shoved out as much as possible. Trying to face some rotations. Optimistic play coming through there, and well, now he won't have the BKB considering Roshan's up in 15 seconds. You've got the Hill Troll waiting inside, and that is exactly what Talon are playing around constantly. T1 doing their best to try and rat out the other sides of the map, force again that defensive movement, but it won't be quick enough. They won't be able to get that true map control, or maybe they will. I mean, Zephyr's backing him up just for the sidekick to be able to enable a little bit more of that burst damage, and good play coming down here from Q, just trying to delay things out as much as he can. Trying to get a pick off onto
Look at the instant TPs. Uh-oh. T1, you gotta get out. Zephyr's like, all right, my job's just to get the tier 3 tower, but Savage, his job is trying to catch up to the bear. We'll find the slow. He's gonna get the bash as well. Looks like the Savage roll will get some distance away. Instant smoke out of Talon though. We've got a 4-on-4 across the map. But they do see T1 in the river.
Disc picked up by Makoto as well. So he can afford to be even more of a menace. Actually, bottom side though, it's pushing all the way in. Ping's starting to come out. I don't know if you want to go for this without your Void Spirit. He is such a key impact in terms of what it means for controlling the Dazzle and the backlines if the Chronos aren't perfect. And well, he's been playing well so far, Savage, but I don't think you could put that much pressure onto him.
So second Observer that just got dewarded as well in the mid lane. So T1 aren't going to have too much vision to play with if a fight does break out.
He's got the Ags now on Ana though. He's going to constantly be looking to make these rat plays happen with his Spirit Bear. Just keeping this bot lane shoved in. If he can look to play a little bit more around the Roche pit perhaps, just so that if they need to, he's able to recall it and instantly join in onto the team fight, that'd be big. They're playing around this double siege creep wave as well, but Talon aren't wanting to wait until it has enough time to have a true impact. Onto the high ground is KP. It's fine, it's tactical.
Oh, he's going to walk on forward. A 4-star breaks the combo. Savage going to try and catch up to Whitemon as well. Gonna be able to get some distance away, but Cuckoo's the one that's in it. Some trouble here is Cuckoo. He'll go down. Meanwhile, the Chronosphere to the north, though. Savage. He found two heroes, but he didn't catch out Thompson. The Invoker starting to get the combinations going. Meanwhile, the middle of the fight, through
these bashes.
Waits the bash onto 23 Savage. Now T1, they need to get more. They committed heavily off the back of these buybacks. They should be able to catch up to Q. Juking down to the south, but the buyback coming out for the Faceless Void. T1 need to respect the capability of Savage rejoining them. KP.
He's got the BKB again, and the Chrono again. He used the Refresher previously, so that's what he's wanting to play around. Looks like they'll have to TP back a little bit. They got the Illusion Runes, forcing out bot lane a little bit, but they know that this Roshan is the big objective, man. They got very lucky with some of those bashes coming through, but it's all in the back of Zephyr, going for this Abyssal Blade. Once he pops that Unleash, you're almost
Hang on,
guaranteeing a chain
Savage.
lock.
He's got another round of the BKB. Thompson might look to try and bring down the Primal Beast. Savage has the Chrono again. He popped the Refresher, but Whitemon's on the outskirts. He should be able to play around with the Grave, but the Ice Blast, it's going to prevent Thompson from being able to survive. So he's going to look to deal as much damage possible before they secure the kill. Meanwhile, still inside the middle of the lane, though, Cuckoo, he's the one that's in trouble. A 4-star, but it doesn't get enough distance away. He's in the middle of it all. Maybe with Ana nearby to try and help out the bear. Once again, locking onto his target. But a Dissimulate will get them out. KP, he wants to go in though. He cancels the Pulverize, so somehow Cuckoo's still alive. And this is enabling Ana to have a free fight. We're seeing what the bear can do once he's able to get onto his target. Thompson, he's going to jump in though. Thompson, he knows no way to stop.
He's going to eventually be forced to though. The team just not feeling confident with all those buybacks being expended. Ana hang around the Roche pit, and this would be really valuable to be giving over to Thompson. Spending that buyback just to be able to get back into this and be able to quickly close in enough. KP has the BKB to be able to play around with. Is he going to be quick enough though? They'll hear the charge coming through.
They're going to get the Ice Blast to charge in as well. KP to disrupt.
He's
KP
got
gets
it.
the Aegis as well. He snagged up the Aegis and Immortal. Now Makoto's going to jump into the middle. They need to keep Thompson alive.
He got everything.
BKB gets some distance. The Invoker should be able to step up to the high ground thanks to the Ghost Block, and he's okay. Can they set themselves up for round 2 though on T1? The bear, priority number 1. They'll drag it back with the Remnant. The damage is stacking up for high, but it's not enough to get the summon. And in fact, Ana's going to look to TP out the bear, but the use of the Pulverize, it'll keep it locked into the middle of the team fight. Down goes Ana's bear. They'll get rid of Zephyr as well.
No bear for 95 seconds. They know this as well. They're just going to be able to move on forward, not anywhere close to being able to pick up a Refresher. And, I mean, you got all this net worth on the Lone Druid, but it is useless. He's basically playing on 5,000 net worth right now. Savage even getting the nice little Arcane Rune. He's going to be harassing even more with the time dilation, or even just the push aspect. What a big fight. They got everything from that Roche as well. Refresher picked up by KP, I believe. They gave the cheese over to Savage. Aegis, of course, we saw have a big impact in that team fight. And they've even got the Scythe of Vice as well.
Hobson has to go absolutely crazy if they're going to be able to hold the base here. And that is difficult now because you're going into a Lotus Orb onto KP. So he can protect himself if he wants to charge in. Thompson, that's an aggressive blink. He's forced to pop a BKB as well. Thompson's in trouble. Ice Blast into the middle. The Grade's not going to do anything because it's silence on the northern side. They get on top of the Dazzle. Thompson's down without a buyback. And Talon, I think they've done it. Onto Cuckoo next. No space as Talon. They'll take over T1 territory. Your base is now mine.
Oh, yes, it is. Not even bothering to go for the rack. Straight tier 4, says Savage. Might be... Yeah, he time walks back. Just the PTSD coming from previous qualifiers all the way back at TI9. He got all the way to Game 5 to be able to go to TI. He doesn't want to give it up again in a similar sort of fashion. Going for the safer play, but with no buybacks being expended, they're just going to want to go on forward. It's going to be all up to Zephyr and Ana to be able to defend this, bringing it to a Game 3, but I don't think they're going to be able to do it.
A jump in,
What a
Hail Mary
remnant.
attempt. Bye-bye Zephyr. He's got a buyback, but Savage,
Another chrono.
it's another out of the chrono, and this time it's onto the real hero, onto Ana at the front of the fountain. Now they'll go for Zephyr as well, and why not Fountain Dive against some players who are well known for it? Talon, what an incredible series. They are yet to drop a map in the TI qualifiers. They will book their ticket in the grand finals.
Big smiles coming all around, and very well worth it, right? And the thing that most impressed me is that they played it in the Talon style. These weren't 30-minute victories. These were games that they played on their terms, able to drag it out. Game 1, 56 minutes. This one, 46. And they were still able to make it work, repelling a lot of the early pressure that T1 were trying to put onto them. You know, Game 1, Viper in the lane. Game 2, Venomancer in the lane. Very, very aggressive early on supports and cores that are able to have that big impact that do drop off later on. Just the itemization choices, some of the hero options. It was a really, really solid performance from Talon today, and they should be feeling very proud.
Yeah, without a doubt. I felt like a lot of this game was perfectly set up from that 5-man fight that we had mid lane with Talon. I mean, that was incredible. Who would ever think of a Faceless Void rotating like that, getting a 3-man chrono, KP's there as well. Talon recognized how vital Thompson is to this lineup at T1, and just in general, like we saw Thompson was almost able to do it in a couple of fights. He pulled out some crazy stuff, you know, that Sunstrike on the Dissimulate for one of them, but the play from Talon to make that call to TP the Voiding, get the 3, they won the team fight, they took the T1 tower, and then Thompson, he wasn't able to get active on the map afterwards. An incredible play from Talon, and they're able to offset the advantage that T1 needed in the early game. This was a lineup that needed to end the game early.
They did indeed, and you know, even just the safe lane as well. Savage able to be, what was it, 5 minutes in, about 1,000 net worth ahead of the Venomancer. Really should not be happening, and it's all in the back of some of those early rotations coming through from Q in particular. I think Q did a fantastic job this game. Almost every single ice blast was on point, able to go into that early Aghanim Shard build so that he's able to continuously scale, have an impact in the game. What a great AA pick that wasn't punished because they just didn't have the heroes to be able to do it. No big gap close outside of Zephyr. Again, I think Zephyr did all he possibly could to have an impact this game. He got some great lockdown, but if that's the only lockdown that you have and you have to pray for some lucky bashes coming through, it's not always going to work out. So Talon, very well navigated, and they've booked themselves a ticket to the grand finals, one best of 5 away from being able to go straight through to that group stage. And that means T1 falls down into the lower bracket final, and they're going to be matched by, well, the winner of We're Not Done, the next series, RSG and Polaris. That's going to be hype as well.
Yeah, I mean, what another incredible series we have for our entertainment here tonight. We've seen these two teams played earlier today. RSG, they were just able to edge out a victory over Xerxia, and Polaris, they could 2-0 Neon as well. These two teams It's going to be a blockbuster. Two very, very evenly matched teams in the lower bracket semifinals. Like you said, the winner of this will face T1 in the lower bracket finals. The winner of this as well guarantees at least a position in the last chance qualifiers. There is a lot on the line for our next series. It's another exciting series as well, guys. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you after the break.